too brushed off.
Intended for mature audiences.
Once, we had respect for this world, but somewhere we pushed the wrong buttons. Crime is out of control when the guilty have no fear of punishment. For the prison systems are so overcrowded, jail times now have limits. More taxes have always been the answer to government mismanagement. They fuck up, we suffer. Violence on the news, rape, murder, civil chaos is just an everyday occurrence. Who do we blame for this mess? Ourselves. We should be ashamed to consider us civilized. Hatred and war are the guidance of our children. Close-minded tyrants with their terrorism bombs shield us from feeling secure in our own domain. We are all in serious decline. Blood-soaked ghettos with gang violence, broken homes, poverty-stricken children lay hungry, senseless slaughter throughout the world. Seems everyone's a part of this dysfunctional family. Is global annihilation imminent? I pray not. Only time will tell.
morning, everyone. I'm Gary Legier. Welcome, all my patriotic, white supremacists, racist terrorists. How are you all doing today on this another un-American law-breaking day? And you're listening to In the Interest of Justice. I'm still trying to tongue twister. But indeed, in the interests of justice, with so much injustice in this world, let alone in this country, which is our main concern here at the moment, we need to take back our systems. We need to take back our country. We need to take back our Constitution. We need to take back our freedoms. We need to take back our national identity, our heritage, and our inheritance for us as well as our children, for any hope for our children to even be alive. Think about that. And as nutty as that sounds, that's the reality of the days that we're in, isn't it? Between courts, injustices, the corrupt courts, corrupt judges, corrupt lawyers, corrupt media, corrupt cops, corrupt everything. Like on the show page, that's why you see the trailer money, the blood money. And of course, all being led and steered by that special club, the Blood Bar. Blood Bar, blood money. So everyone should hopefully be on in the interest of justice.us. And I'll just want to say about the other co-producer, Daryl Neely. Well, he's got some things going on, making some moves, a lot of things going on for him. And we love him, but the show's got to move on, and he knows that he could always latch onto the show and push that as always. But other avenues have to be found, especially in a world, in a country where those avenues are trying to be taken from us, are under attack because of all the injustice going on in this country. And not just of the courts, they're being enabled by those who have usurped our country and are still trying to do so, to take all this away from us, including our lives. But now we got Public Streaming Network's very own Angel Espino. Say hello, Angel.
Howdy. Hello.
You, Angel.
You're welcome.
And he's now the co-producer, hopefully continuing, because I need someone on here I could trust and that you all could trust. But let me all give you, there's a call-in number before I continue my rants, before we go to my guest in like a half hour, who will be Gus Breton. So check out his information there on the show page of In the Interest of Justice.us, and read his bio there, which we'll read before we bring him on. And click on his link there to his site blog, and so much information. And he just provided me other links. Well, I'm just going to have to put on the archive page. There's no time to update the site now. So, another law-breaking day. And we also have our co-host on, Francis Canija. Say hello, Frank. How you doing today, brother? Missing in action yesterday, but glad you're here today.
Well, nice to be here. And we are change.
Boom. You heard those words, right? We are the change. We've all been shortchanged, haven't we? Robbed, raped, pillaged, and look at that damn bill that they just recently put, Frank. Holy shit, to destroy the middle class all the more, raise taxes all the more, to certainly bring us, like President Trump says, into a depression. Worse than a depression. Why? Because it's nation killing. And we're going to bring up something there soon of a message from President Trump. But it's funny, Frank, you told me the other day how you just passed Mar-a-Lago, correct?
Yes, it's my backyard.
That's right. And now think about this, everybody. As many of you all probably know now and are so angered about, is that Mar-a-Lago was completely surrounded the other night. FBI, cops, they raided his Mar-a-Lago. They broke into the safe. Why didn't he ask for a fucking key? Or the combination? I'm sure he would have complied, especially when you found nothing in it. Huh? Tell me who wasn't waiting or expecting someone to show up. An amazing, outrageous thing it is. It's a great thing that happened. Because you know how much support he's now getting? You commie Americans out there, you injusticers, us, patriotic, white supremacists, domestic terrorists, racists, are coming for you. You take that how you want to. It's your fear that is making you act so outrageously and unjustly and injusticely, breaking all rules and rights, including to the president. Yes, the president, because we all know he fucking won, not yous. We are the Al-Qaeda now. We are the terrorists. It's the same people that pulled this shit over there. Put puppet governments. Create more terrorists. Why? Because they didn't agree with the puppet governments. Like we don't agree with you, puppet governments, listening to this, of this patriotic, white supremacist, domestic terrorist, racist show. Right? The voice of the people. That's what we are. Now we're the Al-Qaeda. What, you're going to predator drone our asses next too? Since Obama was in presidency years back, remember? And no one said anything of when he had signed the document stating that the United States is now considered a battlefield, a battleground. Not a word. I mean, someone's got their mic not muted. But I want to all play you something, all right? And President Trump released a video just mere hours after this event the other day. And it's very important to consider because there's hope here. And as angry as this is, because what this is a total injustice and is being done to us. Like I said to Francis on a couple weeks ago on this show, Frank's adamant, yeah, the change has to be done in the court. But not when they're usurping us. We will have no power or say in court using our Constitution. They want to wipe their ass with the Constitution. And they want to wipe their ass with us. What we're seeing here in the January 6th Unselect Committee, as President righteously calls it, it's happening all over the place, even in our systems, even in regards to my case, Frank's cases, maybe even your cases. Everyone's affected to this. And knowing when they go there, they're being served with injustice and being denied their due process rights, amongst due process itself, amongst even them having to acknowledge and obey those rights and laws that govern us and themselves. In previous shows, we talked about, Frank had brought up, judicial immunities, things that deny, that go away from it, and they think they're above the law because they have to represent the law in their powers of positions that we need to tear them from. We're infiltrated by commies, Marxists, trans testicles. And I got to say this now. If any of you are offended at words or speech, even when I say fuck or bat shit, rat shit, dog shit, and you're offended at that more so than offended than what's going on in this country, then that just tells and shows me, logically, you're a libtard, and you need to take your trans testicle vaginuses the hell out of this show. Because we're going to come and change this country for you. You are the minority. We, the people, are the majority. And I certainly believe in free speech. So if my speech, no matter what it is or how it sounds, or if it's not comfortable enough to you, but you're comfortable and okay and not outraged or offended by everything going on out there, yet you continue to live your lives, going to your fucking jobs as if it's going to be there tomorrow. Remember, they're trying to destroy this country and kill you, and our replacements and our murderers are being entered into this country daily. You ready to give up your home to them? You may not want or think that you'll live under the boot, but these people come from places where the boot has lived on their necks, and they're being offered something different. a future of a beast system. Yeah, I said it, a beast system. And that's major injustice, not just done upon us, but upon this planet. But the regard of the attack, the raid upon Mar-a-Lago is very significant. Yes, it should make you angry, but at the same time, it should make you happy because, again, a couple hours later, Angel's going to play it in a moment, you start to hear thunder and rain starting as President Trump delivers a message. Again, a couple hours after this unjustly raid attack on him, because remember, he's standing in the way of them getting us. But here's the call-in number, just for anyone that wants to call in later when the guest is on. Gus Breton, 786-633-2225. 786-633-2225. One more, 786-633-2225. So, Angel, that being said, please show that video, my friend. And it's like 4 minutes long, but you'll see the importance of it. I hope.
We are a nation in decline. We are a failing nation.
Let me know when you play.
We are a nation that has the highest inflation in over 40 years, where the stock market just finished the worst first half of a year in more than 5 decades. We are a nation that has the highest energy cost in its history, and we are no longer energy independent or energy dominant, which we were just 2 short years ago. We are a nation that is begging Venezuela and Saudi Arabia for oil. We are a nation that surrendered in Afghanistan, leaving behind dead soldiers, American citizens, and $85 billion worth of the finest military equipment in the world. We are a nation that allowed Russia to devastate a country, Ukraine, killing hundreds of thousands of people, and it will only get worse.
What's going on, gentlemen?
We're a nation that has weaponized its law enforcement against the opposing political
What's going on,
party
gentlemen?
like never before. We've never seen anything like this.
Stop
We're a
talking.
nation that no longer has a free and fair press. Fake news is about all you get. We are a nation where free speech is no longer allowed, where crime is rampant like never before, where the economy has been collapsing, where more people died of COVID in 2021 than in 2020. We're a nation that is allowing Iran to build a massive nuclear weapon and China to use the trillions and trillions of dollars it's taken from the United States to build a military to rival our own. We are a nation that over the past 2 years is no longer respected or listened to all around the world. And we are a nation that is hostile to liberty and freedom and faith. We are a nation whose economy is floundering, whose stores are not stocked, whose deliveries are not coming, and whose educational system is ranked at the bottom of every list.
I'm
We are a
here.
nation that in many ways has become a joke. But soon we will have greatness again. It was hard-working patriots like you who built this country, and it is hard-working patriots like you who are going to save our country. There is no mountain we cannot climb. There is no summit we cannot reach. There is no challenge we cannot meet. There is no victory we cannot have. We will not bend. We will not break. We will not yield. Ever, ever, ever. We will never give in. We will never give up. And we will never, ever back down. We will never let you down as long as we are confident and united. The tyrants we are fighting do not stand even a little chance. Because we are Americans, and Americans kneel to God and God alone. And it is time to start talking about greatness for our country again.
So there you have it. We're at the precipice. Our nation's in decline. It's being destroyed. Look how calm and collective he is. You're going to tell me, by his face, his sternness, there's no plan. Like nothing's going on. He seems certain. We're going to have this nation back. We're going to do what needs to be done. But it's going to take us all. So if you're offended by my speech, well, you might as well line up with the trans testicles with their vaginuses and their limp-wristed, so-called peaceful protesting pricks and move to China. That's the only place. Well, it may not even be safe for you all along. They're starting to corrode too. A lot of things are being shifted on the stage of what's supposed to happen and what they plan to happen while outright telling us all they want to kill us. And here's another joke. I mean, there's so much I could get into. But again, we want to get to our guest soon. But this bitch, Nancy Pelosi, not only did she go over there to mock and start shit, she went over there for her own financial gains. Notice she brought her son with her. But besides that, before I get to her, I just want to say also that guess who signed the warrant to raid President Trump's Mar-a-Lago? He's a lawyer who worked for Jeffrey Epstein. Someone got their mute on. Their mic not muted. Isn't that something? Judge Bruce Reinhart, who signed warrant to raid Trump's home at Mar-a-Lago, previously worked for Jeffrey Epstein for up to 25 years. Tell me it's not the same people who are doing this all. Where's all the things that we are supposed to have and get in documents that they're supposed to provide? They haven't even provided them. What about the same ones running these commie, corrupt courts that they're inflicting upon we the people? Like they did to Alex Jones. Notice they made him a target. And even, believe it or not, claiming that this raid was also partially due to Alex Jones's messages on his phone. They say they have, but they don't. They just have some messages from a few years ago. They don't have his phone. They don't have all this. They're making up lies because they're desperate because they want to get him out. Who? Trump. Because he represents what's going on, and he has the knowledge of what they're looking for in the safe that was empty. The PEDs, the documents he signed regards to devolution. And if you don't think that exists, why do you think he's so calm and collective? What else would it be that he would have to play regards to that? They really want those documents because they want to know what's going on. And these people are showing their colors more and more, which works to Trump's advantage because we have to see it to believe it. The American dream. Is it dead? Like George Carlin says, that's the only way we could believe it is because we got to be dreaming it. We got to be asleep. We're all waking up. And that American dream has to be taken back because that's who we are. And they're turning this into a one hell of an American nightmare. But regards to Alex Jones, they're pulling the same crap with him. Trans-testicle vaginas looking judge itself, you can tell, looking at Alex with so much scorn. And he's got a couple other places to go yet. Using Sandy Hook, getting behind Sandy Hook and a few out of context words to make a case to pull Alex Jones, and not just Alex Jones, but what he represents, like President Trump represents we the people, right? The nation. Well, Alex Jones represents the tip of the spear, literally, of free speech for we the people. These both are dangerous to them. They want to take them down. They're not succeeding, even as they're going to sue the shit out of Alex Jones. But let me play a almost 4-minute clip of Alex Jones and what is going on and the lawyer themselves representing these so-called, children and parents of these children. Doesn't even mention them, and his true focus comes out, taking down the network. making him sure he cannot broadcast again. This is the January 6th committee. This is your new law of injustice in America. And we have to fight to take this back, because the Constitution and our rights and everything that goes along with this is us, that empowers us to have them adhere to those laws as like a contract for us to live in this country. We are more powerful than the judges, but they've turned it around on us. But listen, Alex Jones here. This is interesting.
They need to legitimize themselves. So they're mad at the independent media. They're mad at the public asking questions. They thought their old corporate media would survive during the age of the internet. It's not. So they pick a few things I did out of context to blow up as huge crimes, and then try to openly say, we're going to shut down Alex Jones, and we're going to shut down everybody else. And I have a stack of articles. CNN, MSNBC, Washington Post, New York Times, Slate. I have more than 15 articles saying we're going to shut Alex Jones down. We're going to shut Tucker Carlson. We're going to shut Joe Rogan. We're going to shut everybody down and only allow our truth. And this SJW judge in Austin last week said, don't say you comply with discovery. You're a liar. I decide reality. And don't say you're in bankruptcy. That's not true. No, we are. I decide reality. Like O'Brien in 1984. What a moment to be alive. But here's one of the plaintiff's lawyers in Austin Friday in closing statements. He said, take away his megaphone, shut him down, shut others down like him. Here's just a small part of his hour-long closing where he said, this isn't about Sandy Hook children. It isn't about the parents, people questioning. It's about silencing opposition, standing on the dead bodies of children. Here it is.
I ask that with your verdict, you not only take Alex Jones' platform that he talks about away, I ask that you make certain he can't rebuild the platform. That's what matters. Take him out of this discourse, of this misinformation, of this peddling of lies, and make sure he can't do it again. That is punishment. That is deterrence.
That's silencing. That's silencing.
Misinformation spreads 6 times faster than the truth.
According to the
we heard on that stand. And
graduate student out of there.
Alex Jones found a way to monetize that. Boy, did he find a way to monetize it. And in monetizing that, he made a huge, huge amount of money. I hope that we never see someone like him again. I hope that with your verdict, he can go away. Alex Jones is patient zero for our society's inability to speak without lies. I believe it. He is patient zero for alternative facts. You heard it on that stand. Ms. Karpova on that stand literally used the words alternative facts or alternative reality, something like that. Sickening.
So you could teach a college course on that 2 minutes. You need to silence him so we have truth. That's tyranny. And then they misrepresent what we said. And they say, oh, he's made all this money. What, lying about WMDs in Iraq? Or puberty blockers for little boys? It's all lies. But it shows where they're going and what they're doing. It's just...
Indeed. It shows where they're going and what they're doing. He sees it. Lies being brought up by the courts. The judge dictating what reality is. Never mind judicial immunity, Frank. Holy shit. And to prevent him or anyone else, listen, motherfuckers, you have me now. You have in the interest of justice now. And I will say the things that he dares not, because he's got to continue a business and he's also on air. There's no FCC rules or any commie fuckers that will steer or control me here for you now. Are you offended? Take your trans testicle vaginuses the fuck off this show. Because we're taking this nation back. And you got to have balls. And everyone cannot just go out there, peaceful protest. No, you got to open. You got to create stuff like what I'm doing here. I'm going to learn things about the law of which they try to prevent us all from learning and doing, controlling it all, making millions and billions off us at our expense of what's rightfully afforded by the rights of God granted to us in the Constitution. They're a special club, the Blood Bar. And I'm not saying this to diminish those who do take the law and understanding it seriously, but the majority have not. They signed up for the Blood Bar, and they go with the corruption. Even when they're represented, whether you're guilty or innocent, it's being controlled, and you have to be reamed. But why? Because you don't know this. Then why didn't they teach us this in fucking schools? Which we need to do with the children in the schools now, not just to love our flag and be patriotic. From kindergarten onwards, you start having classes of what the rights are. Just like, look, I say this because they're very important. And I have a respect for it after Frank enlightening me and the things that he knows and many other people know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm learning. I'm like many of you, probably the majority of you, trying to bring up a show with a subject with someone else who's very passionate, Francis Canija, about changing this country, fighting back for it. But no, what do we get from Nancy Pelosi instead? Listen to this shit.
We still support the one China policy. We go there to acknowledge the status quo is what our policy is. There was nothing disruptive about that. It was only about saying China is one of the freest societies in the world. Don't take it from me. That's from Freedom House.
Let's talk a little bit.
Democracy, courageous people, and it's just, I don't know why it is, except there's some commercial interest who would like to diminish the relationship.
Don't take it from you. We are going to take it from you, bitch. You've taken enough from us already. You've taken enough from others already. You've taken enough bribes already. We are done with you. You are not going to control our lives, force commie shots upon us, upon a globalist plan that you think that you're going to survive and be a part in, bitch. Once they could get control, you're the first ones amongst the libtards on the street that are going to get a bullet in the back of the head. That's how commies work. Remember, what you support is also to depopulate us all. Meh, not me. Are you a sheep? What's your precipice? You heard President Trump, we're a nation in decline. But here's another person. I might as well start introducing our guests. There's so much news I want to go over and talk about. And I'm a little bit mad because look at where we're at. We are a nation in decline. The enemy's coming in through the military age men of not just Mexico, not just Guatemala or other shithole nations. They're coming from the shithole nations of Africa, from the Muslim nations. Why do you think they're being allowed in? A lot of military aged already, battle hardened. What do you think their purpose is here? Being sent off to other states. What do you think? Why they want to bring the commie mask back for when the riots start? They are going to see to it that we don't even have another election, even though the primaries, everything going on now, there's already a lot of discrepancies. Why must we have to raise our voice to vote? The vote in a system that's already rigged where the military should come in and do their due diligence and the rights and responsibilities of the Constitution because of this threat. But look at Trump again in his words. Does he look afraid to you? We're passionate. And yes, this is, it's coming time to where, what? We're going to, a poll that was taken then a few weeks back or a month back that 40% of the people, 35 to 40% of the people believe we have to take up arms against this corrupt puppet government of tyrants and of the beast system. I'm not a white supremacist, domestic terrorist, racist, bigot. You want to bet? Of course we're not. Because I hear a guy saying, and I did hear a guy saying, wait, but I'm black. Shut up, bigot. It don't matter. You're skin folk, not kinfolk. How disgusting. How racist is that? White privilege. Really? Then why does it seem that it's putting on the black privilege to say and be able to do everything that they're doing and not being charged, being released from jail from even murders? It's being flipped, and it's being flipped on purpose to destroy this country. Whether you're black, white, yellow, pink, polka dot, illegal alien, alien from another planet. Let's put it this way, all you assholes coming in through the border. War is coming. You really want the American dream? Are you really here? It's going to have to be seen, because you're going to have to pick a side too. They used your asses, you dumbasses. How? You pick up and fight for we the people. For you and the rights of your family as human rights, if you are willing to spill blood, to take the enemy down when need comes, I don't see why you cannot be an American citizen. But if you're here with the hordes to take down our nation, be warned, they're never going to take away our Second Amendment and our guns. They'll try to. They'll try to. But what's that's going to come to? A lot of bullets flying. It ain't going to be easy, because people know what's at stake. These libtards and everyone else is going to be the first one mowed down by we the people if they stand in our way to do what needs to be done. And what are they fighting for? Because they're not going to be able to jump around and with rainbow flags and keep, with their vaginuses that don't exist in the countries of the control that's being unleashed upon this planet. You are the first also to be chewed up, destroyed. So this is the only nation really you could jump around and be a flying fag fairy and get away with it. And all you kid fuckers out there, we're coming for you, because you destroy our children. You steal our children. Are you offended by my words? I don't give a shit. Why? If we're in the last throes, like Alex Jones said, what difference does it make of how I sound and what I say? And I'm going by the constitutional rights given to me by my birth here as a citizen and upon us all, of which that Constitution was so righteously drafted back then, to fight against shit like this. Grow some balls. Yes, it's a horrible thing to conceive of. Yes, blood is so, but is freedom ever bought by peaceful protests with some burning buildings? Is that how it's attained? Or is it attained by doing what they say that was actually done on January 6th, which was not? It was to cover up for their insurrection from November 3rd. Gaslighting everywhere, like we're all going to believe them. We see the videos. We know what the fuck went on there. And we seen the videos of President Trump saying, go home in peace. Not go there all guns blazing. Cutting off heads, which is righteously also needed and deserved. But something tells me you guys are we're gonna see that yet with you all. It's better to fight back less bloodily, without having to totally destroy the nation. We are at the precipice, and we all have to wake up from what that shows. Now, that's why Trump's support is so skyrocketing, because of what they did the other day. That was so unconstitutional. That was so not give a fuck, I'm a commie chig tactic forced upon us. Gestapo, like the Nazis when they were taking power. Remember that? No, a lot of you fuckers don't know what history is, because they don't teach it to you. They teach you it's better to cut off your nuts than to grow a pair and stand up against them. They're not your friends. And we're going to take this nation back. And if I had it my way, I would seal off all our borders. Well, who gives a shit about the other countries anymore? Let them go to hell. We're going to make America great again, but not just great again. Greater than it ever was. But we need to solve and clean house here and then do what needs to be done to wipe the rest of the world of anyone and anything with these ideologies, and give the rights to their own people to rise up and force against them, not under our flag, but under their own, where they could also adopt a constitution like ours unto themselves, because it's the most benefiting for everyone. They can still adhere to their religious laws as long as it's not depriving them of life, prosperity, and the pursuit of happiness and the right to exist. So I'm sorry I'm ranting, but then again, no, I'm not. That's who I am. I have a big mouth. Just ask anybody. But that doesn't mean that the way I'm saying it and what I'm saying is not true. I'm pissed off, and you all should be too. So let me introduce our guest, Gus Breton, so he can finally come on. He's probably saying, oh, shit, man, what did I get myself into? Well, notice the show picture on the interestofjustice.com. Notice he's sitting there thinking, Gus, looking at what is happening now. The sword is through Lady Justice. She's fallen to her knees. Is she trying to pull the sword out? You would think so. She needs help. What? What? Bro, what? I didn't hear you, man. Anyway, so this is about Gus Breton. Gus, or Ghislaine Breton, didn't speak English until he was about 7. He was essentially just another French kid living in Quebec, Canada, Jimmy Savons, until his family moved to New Hampshire, USA in the late 1960s. And God, I can only imagine his opinion on what's going on up there now. But as a French kid called Ghislaine, living in the States, he hardly remembers a day in his life that he hasn't been in search of some form of redress. That search eventually led him to working with friends in the New Hampshire legislature. Now, Gus states that he believes the Bill of Rights of every state to be declaratory trust documents between the people as grantors and the legislator as what? Trustees. Meaning they work for us, right? Did we all forget that? Bill of Rights are used to declare the pre-existing common law rights of man and to set clear boundaries of authority and liability between the said grantors and trustees. Gus believes that to violate any provision, especially a mandated provision such as the first Article 31, New Hampshire, is to violate that public trust, as the limitation of authority granted to said legislature is clearly expressed in Article 38 of said part the first for the good. Screwing around with kids who have balls. They don't even have the balls to pursue men. This is disgusting. But anyway, it's been neutered by members of the bar. Again, the Blood Bar Association in the mid-1950s. Why does it always seem to lead back there? But the legislature no longer understood its authority to provide redress according to the mandates of Article 31 of the New Hampshire Bill of Rights. It no longer understood its authority to provide it. Well, like it just forgot. Well, it just became a problem. But anyway, Gus set up in the New Hampshire Redress website to educate the people about constitutional redress, but no one seemed interested in one, resurrecting the constitutionally secured authority of man over the legislative trustees, or 2, the legislator trustees' limited authority to only form law, which was necessary for the good administration of government, according to Article 38. Now, if anyone disagrees with this, do you think we're having a good administration of government now? Do you like it? Because it's not of we the people, it's of the beast. And you ain't seen nothing yet. But his search for the foundations of redress kept his interest, and he did eventually realize said foundations were laid on the law common to man. Gus believes the right Gus believes by right, no woman or man wields more authority than the woman or man aggrieved, moving a claim before an open court of record in a trial by jury of impartial peers. Look, Alex Jones don't even have that. In accord with the pre-constitutional common law of man by his authority secured by way of the 9th article of the U.S. Bill of Rights. So again, everyone, on the interestofjustice.us, please click on Gus Breton's site blog there. And under that, it looks like there's an image of him speaking with Representative John Hickel at Legislative Accountability. I thought I'd throw that picture there, too, because it shows he's been out there working for we the people, which benefits him and his family. Holy shit, how about that? I believe we may have Gus on with us. How you doing today, sir? And thank you very much. And hopefully you're still here. All right. Well, as I said, and do I need to say it? Trump said it all. We're in a nation in decline, let alone under attack and being usurped from us. He's being really calm and low to the extremity of what I'm claiming, what many others are seeing of what they claim, and much far worse words than what I'm speaking here. We must take this country back. We must take our rights and our heritage back. That's what we got to live on. Frank, you know me. Am I crazy? And or you could answer that, but am I right? Do you see where I'm going here, Frank? As someone that's been involved, with the law for so long.
Well, there's no question. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna click a button. Is that better? Do you hear my mic better? I'm gonna click that button again.
No, either way, we hear you good, but go ahead.
Okay, I don't understand why my mic isn't working. Anyway, it's time to take back the courts and to get rid of a lot of nonsense that's been there for the duration. One of them is judicial immunity.
Yes, Angel. Yes, Angel.
Sorry about that. Continue, guys.
All right. Go ahead, Frank.
I wonder what the difficulty is. Anyway, it's time for people to stand up and take their courts back. By the way, we have an interesting young lady by the name of Catherine, who's going to be our next guest, and she was delivering the documents that Dr. Martin was asking respective representatives of each state to deliver to their attorney general. And she was arrested when she went into the Connecticut Attorney General office for trying to deliver papers. So this is going to be interesting. She
was arrested for trying to look for documents, which is righted to her to look into.
To deliver documents.
Oh, she was arrested for delivering documents?
Yeah.
Talk about China. Go ahead, sir.
Well, they used the excuse that her mask was not properly on, to be honest.
Oh, a commie mask. China again. Go ahead, Frank.
So anyway, she should be an interesting guest, because she's going to be pursuing a documentary on this issue, and it has to do with the jab. Is that the name I can use?
Yeah, commie shots. Say it outright. The commie shots. That's what they are.
All right. Anyway, that's what Dr. Paul Martin was doing. He had a legal procedure to hold it.
Frank, sorry to interrupt again, but notice what you just said. Notice what you just said. And you're a co-host of this show. Wake up. What did you just say?
I don't know. I say a lot of stuff. What exactly?
You just said, can you say that here? What do you think, Frank? What do you think? What do you think, listeners? Can he say that here? You can call in and let us know. I gave out the call-out number and call-in number, and it's also on interestofjustice.us.
Yes.
Go ahead, Frank.
The proper name for jab, okay? But it is a jab.
Oh, yeah.
They're
Yes,
showing
Jeff.
to be quite deadly after all. But at any rate, she was delivering legal theory. Why, by Dr. Martin, who's brilliant, why the jabs are not constitutional. And if people are harmed, how the institutions can be held accountable. And for that, he was, Catherine and her crew were arrested.
Accosted and arrested, because to arrest someone is actually accosting someone, especially if it's not a righteous arrest due to the constitutional rules and laws, correct?
Well, that's correct. I mean, that's the next thing in court, to actually get the forum where you are arguing constitutional defenses or actions. Okay, we can get to the constitutional question. That's a big ordeal in the courtrooms to get there, and for it to be understood as such. You're declaring their rule void, for instance. The rule doesn't apply to you, it's void. It violates due process.
And therefore, why do we obey? Why do we show up? Oh, that's okay, it's void. I don't have to show up. Fuck you. How can it? Oh, but you.
Well, it's actually the opposite. You show up. You show up to say it's void, and you make the challenge in the court, and it's on record what the decision is. Is that law void, or is that law not void? Okay. And furthermore, let's have a jury decide. Let's not have judges decide, because they fix the finding.
Right. We've been deep. So what do you think about that lawyer? What he said about Alex? Notice how it wasn't about the people after all. It was about shutting him down and preventing him from being able to continue his work. What do you think of that, Frank? You think that's
American? He's not American.
Bingo.
He doesn't have a foot to stand on.
Trying to destroy real Americans' work and their wealth profits to put it into their own coffers as they continue to destroy our society and kill us. So I believe we may have Breton, Gus on with us now. Are you with us, Gus? I don't hear Gus. Gus, where are you? Oh, wait. All right.
Well, what is the problem? You simply call him, he answers, and you bring him in.
Hold on. Yeah. Well, this show is still in the making. We're not with Daryl. We're with someone who I want to keep continuing doing the show. I need someone in the seat of which I could trust. And he's a Cuban American, so he knows the severity of these subjects. I hear you. What'd you say? I hear you. I don't hear him, if you're asking me. So again, this is a show that's new in the works, and it's a work in progress. But it needs to be done. At least there's something being done. Not just sitting around getting high, getting drunk, and talking about and really, fanciful thinking. And maybe if you ever think about, going to an actual protest or anything, no, you got to get out and do something where you don't have to leave to do it. You got to get creative. You got to keep spreading the word. Because remember, what they're trying to do to Alex Jones, they're trying to do to us all. What they're trying to do to Trump and all us Americans, white supremacists, domestic, terrorists, racists, bigots, right? Is that what we all are? Then we all stand one in unison and say, hell yeah. Because, wow, notice all us white supremacists have real diversity behind us. Black, brown, yellow, red, you name it. We all live together, and we all can relate to each other, and that we all need to take care of our families. We need to love our children. not cut their nuts off, not prevent children from being born, not you chopping up our children, using them for their ill-gotten gains and their sick satanic purposes, as well as the corporate needs of the genetics. Why do you think they really freak out about the abortions? You think they care about women's rights? And it's not a woman's right to kill a baby, another life in the womb, unless there's certain circumstances, of course. But that's the rights of another as well. Another American. You want to do that in a shithole nation or commie nation where they do that by force? Did you see how they force the women there to have abortions and what they do and how they treat them with the babies afterwards? In buckets or on the beds, letting the women cry, no counseling, no nothing. They just do it. They kill their children. How many women each year jump off buildings and bridges because of what the commie chinks do to them? Are you okay with that? Remember, this is their system here. They're guys who they're all in bed with, and even worse, because it's the Antichrist beast system. You don't have to see him yet to know that he's well alive and what's going on here is a higher than human intelligent plan being unfolded on our planet from somewhere off this world. And I'm convinced of that. There's a time and day and age for everything, whether you believe in the scriptures or not. That's okay. But, you know, that's your business. That'll be your personal thing. But where it comes to the Constitution, that's the next best thing, the scriptures. Because it gives us as a guide for each other, no matter what color, race, or creed you are. Just don't go trying to cut your neighbor's head off or for our beliefs and take away our free speech. Even if someone says white boy, cracker, or nigger, or dyke, or wop, or whatever else, everyone, notice something here. Everyone is something. Isn't it funny? Everyone's something in this planet. So it's like, why does that bother us? And where's that stemming from, except for the one that wants to destroy this country and which represents the beacon of the light for the world? America falls, the world falls. America first, the world will follow in line, and we'll get rid of all these tyrants. We'll get rid of all these people that are any isms that's a threat to their own people, let alone to the stability of our planet as well as our nation. That's my opinion. But I'm crazy, they say. But, hey, no, I'm not. I'm just pissed off. And I'm thinking logically. Oh, you're so offensive. Again, I already told you what to do. Now, I don't know. I'm just ranting away here. Hopefully that Gus will come on, if he's still on, because these are so very important to understand our rights. And that's like scriptures. That's why I can respect them more. And there's many more of them than we see in the Bible. So, you know, so much things apply to law, and they try to use that and twist it to turn it around, take it away from us of our right to use it by something of a gold fringe that surrounds our flag, which represents what? An international laws, international court system that we had to succumb to, that they ask us to succumb to and force it down our throats if we don't, if we don't agree to be heard under those admiralty jurisdictional laws. What jurisdiction do they have? The American flag is red, white, and blue. Not red, white, and blue, and gold. Red, white, and blue, and gold. I'm sorry. That surrounds that this nation's surrounded, and it's overcome. Do you think it's overcome? Are you seeing it all yet? Wow, that is cool.
Hey there, Gus. How you doing? We're trying to get you on.
That helps, Frank. So, whatever's going on, believe me, our guest will be on shortly. It is what it is. But this is, something that's needed. It'll get better in time, okay? This is still a new show, So, it's going to be morphed. It's going to be shaped. But one thing, in the least, you all should at least be entertained. Hopefully it'll cause you to also speak up, to call on in, 786-633-2225. Not now. Let the guest have some time on first, or at least 45 minutes to an hour before you call in. We got him for 2 hours, and he's got a lot, to say and talk about, and the importance.
Gary, I've got Gus. I got Gus on the phone, and oh, you do? Okay, go ahead.
I don't hear anything yet, so please bring him on. again, things are getting adjusted. We have a new co-producer. Hopefully, he'll be the main co-producer of this show. So, everyone, please give it thanks. A big shout out for Angel Espino of PSN Network, well, Public Streaming Networks.
Does he have Gus?
You got on mute, Gus. Gus.
Let's unmute Gus.
Where did I get that from? Gus. It was a movie.
Yeah.
Well,
all right, hold it. I'm trying to coordinate. Okay, I don't know. Let me try calling him. Thanks.
Well, it's not like things like this.
Hey, Gus, how you doing? Did you just hang up from the
call? What's he saying, Frank? Don't keep us, or put it on speaker.
Yeah. Okay, let me tell him. Hold it. Angel. So Gus says that he's on hold and he's waiting for you. And then after 3 minutes, and then he's not hanging it up. It automatically hangs up. It's not him doing it. Okay, Gus, hang up the phone here with me. Hang up all phones, and he's going to call you again, okay? Okay, thank you. Bye.
And obviously, this ain't all on me, everybody, but, who knows what you think of me already, but I don't care. This ain't about me. It's about you and our nation. When Gus comes on, all these problems aside, you're going to love him. He's got a lot of things to educate us all with and to inform us about, and it's people like him, of which we want people like you to also come onto this show as guests. And that's open to any and all. But if you try any of that commie crap bullshit with me, you're gone, because we ain't falling for it anymore. I'm done, and we are done with you all. We're not going to allow you to take our shows away, to take away our speech, as if somehow you are above us all. You're going to have to kill me, and I know that's your plans anyway. But remember, we are an armed civilization, and we outnumber you. By how much? You just think about that. I'm not pussyfooting around. I'm also a voice of the people. I'm not going to be worried if I can say something or not. That's bullshit. We're Americans. You can say whatever you want. Someone don't like it, they can fuck off. That's the reality. Let them be offended. Because what? Oh, I have to be offended by them? It's okay that we get offended by them, and we have to accept it that they rule over us? They take away the Constitution from us, our rights, and that for what? For them? They can't keep their own dirty dicks out of other guys' asses and with the monkeypox. It's okay for gay orgies, but it's not okay to gather for your families in the hospital who are being put to death. It's not okay to see them as they die. It's not okay to go to funerals. It's not okay. You can't say this. You can't say that. Wear your commie mask. Take a commie shot. You can't do this. We'll cancel you out. We'll fire you. Right there's enough to revolt against anyone doing that to you and your rights. They're an enemy of the people. An existential enemy, because to take away your jobs and livelihood is an existential threat upon you, your life, your stability, and your family, just like them giving you those death shots. It's an existential threat. They're trying to kill you and destroy you. Yet you're going to sit there and you're going to worry about not beating the shit out of them for doing so, if not worse, and you be charged and not them? Wake up. We're going to take back this country. We are not a nation of wussies. And there's another word for that, but and I don't have to swear every time. I'm just angry. But I have the right to say it. I can say whatever I want. And so can you. Don't let anyone tell you. Who are they? You leave their businesses. Oh, you don't go to those court dates. Well, you get a warrant for your arrest. Well, why should you comply with something they expect you to adhere to, even though they're changing the laws? If that's not the righteous laws of the country that they're abiding by, why should you show up? Your Honor, we call $7,100 to the stand. We got a couple questions for it, since that's a defendant.
Okay, about Gus, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm ranting. I'm waiting. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Angel, are you there?
Oh, he's there. I don't know what he's doing. He's probably trying to get him on. He says he's calling. He says he's not available.
Yeah, and Gus says he doesn't know why that's happening because he's there and he's available. So why is the phone giving that message?
I don't know.
All right, I don't understand.
This is where the needs of computers also come in. And
okay, so can we call Gus direct on the phone line and get him that way?
I think that's what Angel's been trying to do. Angel,
are you on the phone right now, or are you on your laptop, Gary?
No, I'm not on my phone. I don't do my shows on the phone. I'm a fucking professional. I try to be at this. You know what I mean? This is why we have to prepare and talk before shows. You feel me? You're a co-host, my man.
Okay, I can put Gus on just to say a word, just for him to say hello, and that we're gonna have a future show. Gus?
I'd like to bring him on now. We got him set up. A lot of work to get him on. He's got to come on. And the listeners, wherever it may be, hopefully not dropping off. Hopefully they're holding on because this guy, Gus Breton, he's got a lot to say. Again, click on his link blog there on intheinterestofjustice.us.
Well, he's just not coming on today, so we failed, okay? We tried everything.
Wait, what did you say?
If he could sign up to Skype next time, we got him, okay? But right now, the telephones aren't working, all right? If Angelo can't get him on by now, he won't get him on. Okay, so that is pretty much settled. We ought to have it shorten the show today, Gary, because we didn't get Gus.
I want him to get, it's not showing up on normal phone or allowing it. So hold for it. All right. Well, Angel, you might as well just speak into this and tell us instead of typing us. Therefore, there's some type of dialogue for the listeners' ears. But I'm not upset about this. This show's still new, but I'm sure we'll get Gus on. I don't know if Gus was on Skype on his phone or just his phone. I don't know what the issue is.
He doesn't have Skype, but he's going to have to put Skype on his phone. So basically, the radio show is not really going anywhere today. So
I'm canceling it, Frank. He may still be on, but when he does, we got him 2 hours. Just don't forget that.
Okay, just call me. Call me when you get him.
You're going to hang up?
All right, I'll hold on for a little bit longer.
Well, let's talk. We got to keep the show going. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so they can talk about the issues I brought up about, Mar-a-Lago that's going on.
Can you call me on my phone, then I can add some people?
No, dude, I'm on Skype. I cannot call anyone to bring on the show. I'm not the producer. I'm the co-producer. He's the other co-producer. We do it via Skype, and the calls have to come in through Skype.
All right. Well, I mean, what would you like to talk about? Do you want to talk about your case?
We could get into that. But first, before that, what do you think about everything I was bringing up that's got me in such a tiffy? That should have us all in a tiffy of what's going on between...
I could just say something's in the air and something's going to happen. And we're tired of a corrupt judicial system. Mm-hmm. So I'm having fun. I'm testing it with suing 3 judges and a clerk. What they did is they tampered with the evidence. They changed what I was appealing, and they thought they could get away with it. But it's so obvious they're not going to get away with it. And they tampered with the evidence, so we'll see if they have judicial immunity. Because tampering with the evidence is a misdemeanor. It can be a felony, depending, but it's mostly a misdemeanor, and it's a crime. It's a crime
Right.
to tamper with the evidence. So the question is, do you have judicial immunity when you commit a crime? One cannot say that committing a crime gives you jurisdiction. Okay?
Right.
The definition of jurisdiction is the legal power to act. A criminal act is not a legal power to act. Correct? I mean, I don't know how they can get out of it. Okay? I mean, what are they going to come up with?
Well, what are they going to come up with? Maybe they'll arrest you for trying to do so. Wouldn't that be ironic?
Well, then they're going to be arrested for false arrest. Okay? Don't mess with me that way. It's not going to work. All right? So, and false claims. All right? So they did what they did. I asked them to please fix their mistake of fraud. They didn't want us to fix their mistake of fraud. No, they're going to hold to the fraud. Okay? And dismiss my case. Okay? So they hampered my case. They hampered the presentation of my case. Why? That's the precise definition of fraud upon the court.
Corruption.
It's corruption, and I don't know how they can get out of it. The judges at the 3rd district are going to have to get very creative to hide that kind of corruption. I don't know what they're going to do. All right, and then also, a past attorney general in this state said that if you're a judge but you're conducting an administrative task, then you are liable for suit. There is no judicial immunity. So that's going to get interesting, because if the clerk ruled on an administrative order, which he can, then all of them are liable for acts that were not judicial.
Okay.
It looks like I'm getting messages here that Gus Breton is about to be on.
Right. I don't know what bois join in knock means.
I don't know, but it looks like he's about to get him.
He's joining now. Now he's writing like I do on this damn keyboard. My keyboard is fucked up. Keys are flying off of it. So, but it is what it is at the moment. And I'm writing a book. So think about how maddening that is and why I'm also sounding frustrated.
He should have done that years ago.
Well, yeah, but now I got a lot of info and also a special treat or two to make it solid that you'd even be surprised at. But I'll tell you that off air. It's going to be a good book, but that's book 1. But anyway, but it's not relevant to this show or subject. It deals with Mars. Anyway, or the faces thereof. So, all right. So now, but just like that woman did, Frank, all she did was try to file papers. They arrest her. All this corruption type January 6th style, new.
Well, to be honest, the in-house sheriff there used the excuse of her mask not being properly on to arrest her.
Oh, so what you're saying is.
But all the while, they wouldn't allow her to leave her documents there at the Attorney General's office, which is outright illegal. Okay, that's his job, to accept papers. Okay, looks like Gus is on. Oh, he's gone. He was there, I swear.
Okay, I believe you. This is a bizarre, it's a different kind of show. Hopefully the listeners will understand that and we'll deal with it. Again, I'm no lawyer, no expert, certainly no expert in the knowledge of the law, but just like the scriptures, which I love to read of the good book,
Well, let's talk about the Alex Jones case. Gus, are you there? Gus? Oh, he left again.
All right, now let's talk about what? Alex Jones, what you heard about Alex Jones? Think about that. How wrong is that? Or did you see anything?
They're setting him up, but he made a mistake early on in the case. Okay, about discovery. Okay.
Which was?
Well, he didn't do proper discovery, and he had his chance, and he blew it. Now that's unlike my case where I'm trying
They
to.
wouldn't let him. They wouldn't let him, Frank. They
Gus, are
wouldn't.
you on? Gus?
Oh, hey.
Hey, Gus, we want to hear you. We don't want to
Oh,
hear
man.
nothing.
All right, but before that, Frank, before that,
No, forget it. Talk to Gus.
No, because this is important, bro. This is in the interest of justice. And what is going on, okay, by them not doing that, they didn't even allow him to bring forth evidence, to deal with the witnesses, to face accusers.
Well, he had his chance, okay? Gus,
No,
what do you have to say about Alex Jones?
I've been watching it, Frank. You haven't.
Gus, what do you have to say about that case?
The guy's got a right to free speech. I mean, how many people? I mean, politicians are lying all the time. Nobody shuts them down for bullshitting. So, as far as Alex is concerned, I think he's a whole lot more truthful than most politicians. Well, probably all of them. Let the guy speak. So what? You don't like what he's saying? Tune out.
Bingo. And that's what, based on the Constitution, how we've always thought of here as America. But no, they took that away. And what are your thoughts on that, especially with Mar-a-Lago and the January 6th committee? Do you think our court system's already usurped and we're being forced to that type of system like they're doing the Trump and the Jones? It's to get to us to do the same thing? And what are your thoughts on that?
On which part?
All of them. Everything they're doing is their model.
So the January 6th stuff, let's start with that, okay? So, the basic essentials are what need to be understood. And so education is the only way this is going to change. And so those people from the January 6th people that are being held captive are being treated as U.S. citizens, as persons. They're not being treated as a man or a woman with rights. And that's the problem. And the bigger problem is that those people don't even know that. Okay. So if you want to start with what I've got some notes on stuff I thought we should cover before we get into any other discussion, because the basics are what people need to understand to be able to secure their rights.
Okay. Before we go any further, I want to say that I've gone over all of Gus's challenge in the courts in his last case, and I was riveted by what he did there in that case and how he eventually won, to everybody's surprise. So that's why we have Gus Breton here today, because he won that case. So Gus, what exactly did you win?
Well, I was convicted of felonies for fighting for my kids in 2004. And then in 2015, somebody set me up. I was giving somebody a ride, and they stuck a 45 behind my seat. And within 2 minutes, I got pulled over. And so the charge was, felon in possession of a dangerous weapon.
They were setting you up. You were infiltrating.
Yeah, they were setting me up because, I was helping people and, get through the courts in New Hampshire. And so they wanted to shut me down.
I see. So do you know who it was? Do you know who it was in the car? Who was it in the car?
Yeah, I know. Well, it was somebody I was helping out with some felonies, and I told them, I said, look, I know you own that firearm. If you man up and take possession of the issue, I'll continue to help you with your felonies. And if you don't, then you're going to jail, and I'm going to walk away and fuck you.
Right.
And that's what happened. He didn't want to man up because he was afraid to breach his bail. So I told him, no problem. I said, I'll take care of it. So I made bail. I called him up. I said, you owe me $600 for bail, which he showed up that night and gave me because he didn't want to go back to jail. So, and I told him, no problem. I don't need you to do anything for me. I can handle this, but don't expect me to help you out if you can't man up. I mean, you set me up. If you admit you screwed up, then I'll help you out.
He didn't mean to set you up. It wasn't a planned setup.
Oh yeah, it was.
Okay, but the cops did know right away, and they stopped you right away as soon as he was in the car. So
we were sitting. We went and grabbed a bite to eat someplace, And when we drove away, he went and made a, he went into the back room, made a phone call, and
Oh, really?
I wasn't. We weren't in the car 30 seconds, and there was a cop on me. So it's just, and not only that, there's a guy that I have helped who did time in federal prison, and he just got out last year, and he told me through the grapevine the entire story, and there's no way he would know the entire story. A lot of details that were not available to the public. He wouldn't know that stuff if he hadn't heard it firsthand from somebody, in federal prison. So I never asked him where he got the information. I just verified that, he was correct. That's how it went down.
Okay, so let's tell the audience what exactly your case was. Okay, so basically, this person left a firearm on the floor of your car.
Well, he was in the car.
Yeah, he was in the car, and he left it on the floor of your car, and shortly after you were stopped by the police. So now you're being charged with whatever misdemeanor, right? Or was
Well, no, it's a felony.
Oh, it's a felony. Okay, you're being charged with that, and so now you're in court, and you recorded the court session. Do you want to tell us exactly what went on and why they brought you up first before anybody else? What they thought that they could accomplish by doing that?
Well, they probably wanted to make an example of me, but it was that recording that's on YouTube is from the court itself. I didn't make the recording, so I just downloaded it from the court. And
archive page. I'll add it to the archive page. But go ahead, sir.
All right. So what happened is they did the roll call. It was probable cause hearing day. The city has about 140,000 residents, and so they listed off, I don't know, 40 different people that were there waiting to be heard. So they were their defendants, facing felony charges. So because that's what a probable cause hearing is, and their attorneys and a bunch of cops to testify. So there was probably somewhere between 90 and 100 people. They went through the roll call. Everybody raised their hand, and then he asked, did I miss anybody? So I raised my hand. He said, "What's your name?" And I told him, and he checked it off the list. So obviously he skipped me, intentionally. And out of all those people, I was the first one called. There was people alphabetically that were before me, but they called me first. And the 9-minute hearing or 12 minutes, whatever it is on YouTube. And after that hearing was done, he says, "I'm going to take this into consideration." And typically the judge will slide his notes off to the side. They call the next case, and they just go through one case after another because there's a lot of people waiting. And he said he was going to take it under consideration, stood up, and walked out the back door. And a half hour later, I asked the bailiff guy, if I could walk, if I needed to stay or not. If he, is he coming back? Do I need to stay? Does he have any more questions for me? And the guy said, "No, you're free to go." And 4 cops at the same time, in chorus, said, "No, he can't leave. The judge is coming back." Like they were going to hang me, within a half hour. And
unbelievable. But but what the judge says is the last word, and you were able to leave the courthouse. Nice of him to tell you. Nice of him to tell you. And he did leave the courthouse. You could have ended the case right there because he entered the courthouse, the courtroom, and you could have called, call for the case to be dismissed because he left the courtroom. But you decided not to do that. So what did go on? What was different about your defense when you got up there? So tell us about.
I didn't have a defense. I was. If you listen to the recording, I repeated over and over again to the man, acting as judge, that I was speaking to him man to man. So that basically stripped him of his immunity, and I was there to let him know, man to man, that I'm here to settle any claim before the court. So the court cannot exist unless there's controversy, and I was there to remove the controversy, to remain in honor, and to resume the quiet existence, the quiet pursuit of my quiet pursuit of happiness. Because if it's not quiet, then somebody's breaching my peace.
You couldn't complete that procedure because why?
Because there was no accuser. I was there to face my
So that's
accuser.
the key. That's the key.
That's the key. And the accuser. So let me start. I'm going to give you a quick rant about some basic stuff, and then we can continue, and it'll make more sense.
Okay.
So if you, the only legitimate purpose of government, as described in the Declaration of Independence, is to secure the rights of man. So I'm going to read the second paragraph so you can see it for yourself. We hold these truths to be self-evident. So truth number one, all men are created equal. Number two, that they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. Number three, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Number four, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That's it. They exist to secure the unalienable rights of man. So when I was in court, I was there to face my accuser because that man has a right to be made whole, and I have a right to face my accuser. So the court's only job is to secure the unalienable rights of man, because the court is part of the government, which exists to do that job.
So that's beautiful. That's beautiful what you did. But I had that question before. Maybe you could I could say it again, and you could explain to the audience, why wouldn't the police officer be the accuser? Why couldn't he be the accuser?
Well, the Sixth Amendment says that of the U.S. Constitution, which is, to clear it up, the Constitution gives the U.S. government the right to exist. And that right was given to the U.S. government by the states, not by we the people. I know it says, we the people in order to form a more perfect union. But that, the original union was the Articles of Confederation. That established everything. The Constitution is the next thing. But, both of those were created by the United States themselves, the states, not the people. The people created the counties created the states, and the states created the government.
Okay, so the question was, why isn't the police officer the accuser?
Because the Sixth Amendment, which describes the U.S. Constitution, describes that you have a right to confront the witnesses against you. It does not say that you have a right to face your accuser. That's pre-Constitution. So you have a pre-constitutional right to face your accuser. The cop is only a witness. He's there to describe what he saw. He is not the accuser. He's not the man making a claim for actual damages.
And he's not the
judge. Well, see, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence describes very carefully that unalienable rights is the only reason to have a government, is to secure those. So the government exists to secure the rights of man, not the rights of the witness. The witness is only there to testify on behalf of the accuser. And the accuser has to be somebody whose rights have been damaged, have been violated, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, that's the key right there.
That's the key. There has to be a claim for actual damages, okay? If you tell me that I'm riding, that in our neighborhood, we all have John Deere, we all have green lawnmowers, and, you don't like the fact that I have a red one, that's a complaint. That's not a claim, okay? That's the difference between a claim of actual damages and somebody who's just pissing and moaning in the wind.
Okay, so I saw all the paperwork you entered with your case, and in most part, it was handwritten, just a couple paragraphs, which astounded me, that you could draw so much power from just a few statements. Okay, one, that you were an idiot, and could you explain that to the public, what that means?
Well, an idiot, the root term and the definition that I used was from Etymology Online, which I posted in the paperwork. So I told the court that I'm an idiot to legalese. I'm also an idiot to brain surgery, nuclear science, and a bunch of other stuff. Well, I'm not trained in your stuff, so you can't hold me accountable to your rules of evidence. I don't give a shit about your rules of evidence.
Perfect. That is the point. We need to get to the point. So that's the point. That's That's true.
Well, the point is there's a huge difference between the Black's Law Dictionary, which is 3 inches thick, and the Webster's Dictionary, which is 3 inches thick. In the Black's Law Dictionary, sweating is illegal. And sweating is when they take you downstairs, deny you counsel, question you till deny you of food or whatever. They'll question you until you finally confess. Well, that's against the law, but that's the definition in legalese. Sweating in Webster's dictionary is the condensation that forms on the outside of a cold glass of water. So that's people don't understand the difference. What's the difference between a man and a person? A man is created by the almighty self-existing one. A person, for instance, let's say my brother has a kid. Well, I automatically become an uncle, whether I like it or not. And an uncle is a person with obligations and duties to perform under the family contract.
Right.
A fireman.
And a corporation is a person. We can talk about corporations being
corporations, yeah. But if you look at the statutes, long enough, you'll find things like the difference between a fireman and a firefighter. A firefighter is a man or a woman with obligations and duties to perform their function, whereas a fireman is somebody who's collecting a pension and no longer has responsibilities and duties. So there's a huge difference between man and person. And in a lot of other words, the word idiot, which means to be a private person, the word nice means to be foolish. The word smart means to be a pain. That's why you say smart ass. Okay, so you're a pain in the ass.
Told a smart ass by my dad.
Yeah. So these words all have significance, and the dumbing down of America is what has caused us to lose track of how the government functions, our place in it as the creators, and our rights. For instance, Article 4 of the New Hampshire Constitution, which is the Bill of Rights, Article 4 of the Bill of Rights, is you have a right to conscience because nothing can be given up to replace it. You can't give up your right to conscience because what can you possibly gain that would be bigger than your right to conscience? Nothing.
Tyranny.
And so, well, if you're in Minnesota, Florida, doesn't matter. Okay, that Article 4 is the Bill of Rights of New Hampshire, which is a declaration of pre-constitutional rights. Before the Constitution.
Right. Huh.
So your Bill of Rights are all
rights.
bills.
Natural rights. Jefferson's natural rights.
Yeah. So what you've got is you've got pre-constitutional rights. Nobody's got constitutional rights. I hate to hear that because you're not a party to the Constitution. The states created the Constitution. Okay. The state constitution itself, for instance, the New Hampshire, the Florida Constitution, those were created by the people of the counties. So, the Bill of Rights are the declarations of rights that people have. They've declared in different areas. It could be Germany, it could be anywhere. If you find a Declaration of Rights and some guy in Germany has a right to something, then you, being a man created equal, have the same right. Period.
Yes. Okay, well, what's going on with the Constitution, various constitutions, and the United States Constitution is they adopted the Bill of Rights. They adopted it. So it's part of the framework.
They adopted it after the states were formed first, and the states had a Bill of Rights before.
No, before that, you said that inalienable rights were first.
The premise is the Declaration of Independence, which sets the tone for everything.
Right. So that was first. That was first. Okay. So they're inalienable rights, the God-given rights that can't be taken away.
Yes. The next thing that happened is there were the constitutions of the several states were created, and every one of those constitutions, the first part of the Constitution is the Bill of Rights. These are our rights. And so based on our rights, we're going to create a government. So the government comes after the rights. So the rights, the Bill of Rights is pre-constitutional. There's nothing constitutional about your Bill of Rights.
Which never disappears, and it's the foundation in essence.
Well, the Constitution adopted it. So I say technically the Constitution is part of the Rights because they adopted.
Well,
they
the
adopted
U.S.
those rights.
Constitution, the U.S. Constitution is
The US
that way, and that's why they're
Constitution
called
also
amendments.
adopted the Bill of Rights.
The U.S.
Now-
Constitution was.
Oh, is it
Hold
true?
on.
What?
The U.S. Constitution was created by the states, and no one was willing to ratify it. So the people of the states had to vote on it, and nobody was willing to ratify that until they amended it with a Bill of Rights. So after the Bill of Rights of the U.S. Constitution had been amended to it, then the people voted to adopt the U.S. Constitution as a, in order to form a more perfect
Thank you
union.
for that. That's important. What you just
It's
said.
very important.
Now, here's what I think is a good question. Now, the Constitution we have now, from which I hear, and I'm sure you could explain about to myself and others ignorant of this, or those that just like the sad fact of history, that the Constitution we have now is not really based on our original Constitution, or is there anything to that?
The 1871 Constitution.
Yeah. The 1871 Organic Act was, before that was the 1867. In June and October, there were two reconstruction, I forgot what they were called, but there was another one in 68, and then finally in 1781 was the Organic Act. And regardless of anything that happened there, that happened within the administrative function of government, has absolutely nothing to do with my rights as a man created by the Almighty, period. Because everything stems from the Declaration of Independence.
Right.
You can't change that. That's that's document number one, period. Everything else comes
You're
from
right, Gus, but how do you get the courts to respect that line, that pecking order? All right.
Well,
How do you get-
if you do, I mean, listen to the recording. I was charged with a felon being in possession of a firearm. I did not challenge that. None. I did not challenge that. I didn't say I didn't have the gun. I didn't say that wasn't me. I didn't say anything. I provided no defense. I said, hey, I'm here to settle the claim with whoever is the man or woman whose rights you are securing. Put that man on the stand to verify his claim of actual damages, and I'll cut a check right now.
Okay, so that's beautiful. This is freaking amazing what you did here.
Amazing. Talk about a way to get out of a court. Now, whether you're guilty or innocent, the law and our rights and everything else that applicates to defend ourselves using those.
I need to clarify. Okay, so Gus didn't have the judge dismiss the case. Instead, the prosecutor nollied the case. So how did Gus get the prosecutor to nollie the case? He made a statement to the prosecutor, one paragraph, that he was injured by the prosecutor. Do you want to explain more, Gus?
Yeah, so one of the paperwork and the video are both on my website, redressfordummies.org. If you look up, if you look up 2015 gun charge, that's in the search box. That'll bring you to the recordings and the paperwork. Like Frank said, it's just a few paragraphs, 5 or 6 different pages, and in there you'll see where the prosecutor null processed the case. And so this was a district court hearing, and the purpose of that was to figure out.
Could you explain that? Not everybody knows what that means.
District court has the authority to listen to misdemeanor cases, traffic cases, family court stuff, but they don't have the authority to listen to felony cases because they are not a jury trial court. And so the function of a probable cause hearing is to take the case, analyze it. The judge, in order to keep the grand jury from having an overload, the judge in the district court will see if there's a reason to send the case to the county prosecutor, because it's the county prosecutor that presents it to the grand jury. So this was a district court, a lower level hearing to find out if they were going to escalate. And a week before that hearing, I sent the county prosecutor, the one who would escalate, the case. I sent him a letter, a notice. I delivered it. I hand delivered it with a couple witnesses. And basically, the note says Article 15 of the New Hampshire Bill of Rights says I have a right to be fully heard. So this case is going to land on your desk in a week or so. And when it does, and you decide to go to the grand jury, make sure you send me an invitation, because I plan to be fully heard before the grand jury. And at which time I plan to prosecute the chief of police who signed the ticket saying that I knowingly and willfully had possession of this firearm, because he can't read my mind. He couldn't even pick me out of a lineup. So, so that was my letter. That's the only thing that's not, that's the only paperwork that's not actually in the case.
Is that false arrest? Is that what that is?
You know, it's false arrest has a lot of different things that it can be. There's a lot, I mean, a ton of due process stuff. If you want to know more about that, Derek Gonzalez is a great guy to talk to. But yeah, I mean, it's a, you know, there was a gun behind my seat. I'm a convicted felon. They arrested me. I think the process was very clean. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. You know, here's a guy who's a convicted felon. There's a gun. We arrest him. We let the judge decide.
Well, let's clear the audience up on why you're a convicted felon.
Well, the convicted felon is, I was fighting for my kids in 2002. And after not seeing them for a couple of years, I did a process whereby you document that your name, your all capital name, is trademarked and copywritten. And so I sent a bill to the judge for using my property in court, and then another judge, and then
and that's tampering with the witnesses.
Yeah. So the guardian ad litem was considered a witness.
The charge was tampering with the witnesses. That's what
witness tampering and improper influence on judges.
And that's
what'd you say? Tampering with evidence and what?
Witness tampering, and the other one. So the witness tampering was the guardian ad litem, and then improper influence on a judge.
Improper influence. Why? For speaking something that was true that you had? That
I gave him a bill for some money that he owed me for using my property to earn a living, and they saw that as improper influence.
Yeah, you should have been able to beat that. Why weren't you able?
I didn't even try. I had lost my kids. I lost 5 dogs, my house, 4 kids. I was at the end of my rope. I mean, if this didn't work, screw it. And I certainly wasn't trying to break the law. I did the trademark, the copyright. I recorded it at the county recorder's office. Got certified copies. Delivered those to the Secretary of State's office.
I don't see how that's tampering with the evidence. It's just standing up for your rights. That's all. And
I just wanted to see my kids. Basically get the fuck out of my life. I want to see my kids.
All right.
I haven't seen my 2 oldest daughters since 2002, and the only reason I got is that, well, they don't want to see you. I'm like, well, yeah, they don't want to go to school either.
But I don't see how that's tampering with the evidence. You go, because I just been there, done that. I went into the Florida version, right, of tampering with the evidence. It's very specific, and none of it is. All right, it's very specific, and nothing that you did resembles that. I don't know if the law is different up in Massachusetts. I mean, New Hampshire. I don't know if
it was witness tampering, not the evidence, and it was witness tampering because the guardian ad litem in the family court case was considered to be a witness. So these are things I hadn't thought about. Probably didn't give a shit about back then because I just wanted to see my kids.
That's pulling a fast one. It's not your.
There's just a lot of stuff, So
you could have gotten out of that, in my opinion, but never mind. You didn't.
I didn't even fight it.
Yeah. So now you're a felon.
I never put up a fight.
And now there's a gun in your car appearing out of nowhere, and now a cop stops you right afterwards. Okay, pretty much of a coincidence. So they're trying to set you up to shut you down. That's the second part of the story, but so your case was not won by any action of the judge. It was won by the dismissal, the nulling of the prosecutor.
Nolling.
Well, yeah, it was null processed by the prosecutor, Dennis Hogan, which I had, delivered that notice to the week before, that when you take it to the grand jury, I expect an invitation because I'm going to be prosecuting my own stuff against the chief of police who initiated this thing against me. He's the one who signed the ticket. It wasn't the cop. And so the cop was there as a witness. The chief of police,
Okay,
I
so
don't
you
know
would
why.
add him as a party to that case and do a counterclaim.
Well, I'd prosecute him for damages for bearing false witness. That's exactly what I told the
Figure out how
prosecutor.
to do that because the case is so far about something else. But if you can say, well, there's an indispensable party that needs to be here, and that's the sheriff himself.
And there's
Well,
100 people, there's 100 criminals already in the stands, and being seen first, they were probably like, oh, this guy's going to go down. Then he's like, they see what happened. They go up. I claim what he said.
Oh, the judge never came back.
Yeah.
It's I was there another 40 minutes, and so, yeah, all these people were sitting in the courtroom. I'm sure they were wondering what the fuck just happened.
Yeah. But nobody really knew what happened. Only you knew what happened.
All you're walking out of court on a felony charge of carrying a gun. See you later. And never heard nothing again.
Well, Gary, technically, if the judge leaves the courtroom, you can call that the judge has left the courtroom and that you dismiss the case.
That makes sense. That happened a couple times when I was at court, but he didn't.
But you have to declare that you're a free, a free agent.
That's right. That's right.
You have to say that you're a man.
Right. You go there.
The land of the law, not the land of the sea.
You go there, right?
The only thing you need to say is, everything needs to be said 3 times. You can't say something just once because the first time is a coincidence. It's just a happenstance. The second time might be a coincidence or a fluke. But if you say something 3 times, it's absolute proof that it was meant to be said in that way.
You know what's funny about that? That's a scientific model too. Scientists usually require 3 sources. Remember that.
Well, yeah, because
on mere tricks of light and shadow. Soon.
Yeah. So, getting back to these people that are in, being held captive, the first thing they need to realize is that they are man and woman. Okay. You might have signed that voter registration thing that says you're a U.S. citizen. Okay. Or a bank account when you first sign up that says you're a U.S. citizen. And so they use that as a presumption that you are a U.S. citizen and not a man or a woman, with all their rights intact. So that presumption causes them to believe, the court, to presume that you have relinquished your rights as a man or a woman. So that's the first thing they need to correct. And then secondly, they need to correct their standing before the court. That's part of it. So you stand before the court as a man or a woman, ready to face your accuser and to settle the claim. Period.
And not be a pile of cash. That's that claimant and / defendant, right, Frank?
Right. Okay, to rephrase, not the pile of cash be a party that supposedly speaks on the stand, which is
it's also
true.
the defendant.
Okay, but also for them to force down your throat, you're a mere claimant crawling in the dirt with no rights. And that's what they're doing in Gary's case. You're just a claimant, you have no rights. Okay.
Yeah, but see that needs to be corrected.
It is corrected. I promise you I wouldn't get into the case, but basically, we claim the law shows, the history of the law shows that even a claimant has 14th Amendment and 8th Amendment rights, and that's hands down. They can't deny those rights, and that's what the U.S. attorney is doing. She's just outright denying the rights any way she can.
Who's making the claim for the property?
The U.S. attorney in the United States. In terms of an administrative claim, claim. Well, then Gary has, after his case, because he was raided, right? It was a criminal case, right, Gus? It was a criminal case. Then it got settled, okay? He got probation, and they found him guilty of having too many plants, okay?
Any plants above 30?
It doesn't matter. It's property. And that's the problem, okay? There needs to be a claim by the owner of the property for the property to be returned to the rightful owner.
Well, getting them to talk about the weed is one thing. Right now, we're working on the cash. $7,110.
It doesn't matter if it's cash or if it's used tires or if it's weed.
Well, the
it makes
weed
no
is
difference what it is.
$120,000. That's a nice win.
Sure, but it's all property, okay? The right to comb your hair to the left is a property. The right to pick your nose is property. All rights are property, period.
Say, fuck you.
Well, what does the book of Genesis says? It says, you know, the seeds, the seeds shall be your meat. That portion of of Genesis, where it talks about your food. So weed, the seeds of the plants are to be your food. How are you supposed to eat if you can't grow your plants?
That's right.
It's property.
And they want to take this away from
it's property without it being food. But at any rate, it's this whole thing. They set you up. Oh, you have to be under the jurisdiction of the law of the sea, Admiralty. And it's like Garrett's there. No, I don't. I don't accept that jurisdiction.
That's right. I'm not SpongeBob. I don't live in a pineapple under the sea. All right. I'm landlocked. I'm here in the middle of Colorado. Like, give me a fucking break.
But these are all things that they see. The one thing, if you listen to the recording of that gun charge that they hit me up with, they asked me lots of questions. Okay, I never got distracted. My focus was that I'm a man. I'm here with clean hands, in honor, to settle the claim, the end. And if there's no man willing to verify the claim, I require the case discharged. Period. I don't give a shit what you talk about. I'm not fucking interested in a discussion about anything else. I don't want to discuss jurisdiction. Let's presume you've got jurisdiction because you're the government and you exist to secure the rights of man. And somewhere's behind the mirror, behind the scenes, behind the black cloth, there's the Wizard of Oz, the guy with the claim. Okay, we'll bring him up so he can verify the claim so I can pay the damn thing because I got shit to do this afternoon.
And you don't need another felony charge.
Well, it's, settling the claim. If you're a man, didn't your dad say, if you do something wrong, fix it?
Yeah.
That's it. Okay, I'm a man. I wish to remain in honor and to settle the claim before the court. I don't want this. I don't want my neighbors and my friends and my thinking I'm an asshole. I'm here to settle the claim. I'm here to do the right thing with clean hands, in good faith.
Okay. But what made it
remain in honor
is that he suggested, quote unquote, to the prosecutor that the prosecutor is going to be up for charges of injury, allegations of injury, if he doesn't fix it. So that was brilliant.
Right.
That was a brilliant strategy, because I think that worked. And the judge left it up to the prosecutor to handle it and make it go away. All right? Because he said he took it under, the judge said, I'm taking this under advisement. Right? What you said.
I never stated I was going to go after the prosecutor. Okay, the man who signed the paperwork. No, the man who signed the paperwork under oath was the chief of police.
Yeah.
And I gave I wrote a notice to the prosecutor that dear Dennis Hogan, if you choose to bring this before, this case is going to land on your desk next week, and if you choose to bring it before the grand jury, I require an invitation according to Article 15 of the New Hampshire Bill of Rights, because I plan to prosecute the chief of police for bearing false witness against me. We're all going to be there. We're all going to talk about the same story, the same paperwork. He's a party already, and so am I. So it's him and me. Those are the two parties. The guy making the claim the claim, the claimant, I mean, the complaint, and that's it. So
but you did make a written, I saw it with my own eyes, you did make a written declaration that the prosecutor is causing injury. You made that declaration.
Yes, I made the declaration, yes.
Yeah, so I did notice that. I noticed all the elements of your case.
Sure. Yeah, if there's no claim to, no verifiable claim, and the prosecutor chooses to pursue, then he is causing me damages, and that's known as common law barratry.
Okay, can we apply that to the January 6th, those poor people in prison?
You can apply, there's 100 different ways to fix that. The number one thing is knowing that they are a man or a woman, and understanding that the government exists to secure the rights of man. So
there's problems with that now. What's a man and a woman, remember? Their vaginas isn't.
Here we go.
Oh, t-shirts only come in men and women's sizes. That's it. Everybody knows what a man or a woman is. It's just, that's it. Everything else is just a make-believe story.
I just saw a meme last night, right? There's a picture of a trans testicle, yeah, trans, and everything. And then there's a archaeologist on the bottom of it saying, this is a man's bones 1,000 years in the future.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought it was funny. But anyway, I think this is a good time to go to a break, because I know there's stuff you want to get into, Gus, correct?
What's that?
I think it's a good time to go to a break right now. But when we come back, I know there's other stuff you are wanting to get into as well. That's important, correct?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things. Whatever you guys want to talk about.
All right, because you did send me a list of some things. I mean, it's all over the board. I will link up. I'll need a link to that video to put on the archive page regards to that case. But please mute your mics, everyone. But think about it, everyone. We're going to go to a break. And in the interest of justice.us, how much injustice is going on? But look at this guy. He goes in there and throws the justice at the injusticers. They're probably pretty shocked. Again, all those guys, think about that, and in cuffs, waiting to be heard, and going up to the stand. I claim what he said. How many of them at least must have tried it, or wish that he was sitting next to them, right? But anyway, so we'll be back in about 4 minutes, so do your thing. And of course, no matter on my other show as well as here, pack them and smoke them. You're definitely going to need them when we come back on the interest of justice. Welcome back, everyone. This is Gary Lishier. I'm your host, and you're listening to In the Interest of Justice. That's right, everywhere I go. But I am not alone in this case. He might be alone in his little journey there in that song, but we're all on a journey. Again, like as we opened the show with President Trump, just a video message that he put out to us just a couple hours after that injustice raid on his home and breaking into a safe expecting to find some peds where there was nothing at all inside. And look how calm he is. Look how, I think, planned it was / is of his video. Like it was already presented for that day for when he knew they would come in and have nothing in the safe. Nothing. Not a condom, not an address book, not anything. Blank. Looking like fools, but showing and getting all that more support that he has now between us, the patriots, the white supremacists, racists, domestic terrorists, bigots. Let's not forget that. We're all bigots. But I'm black. Don't matter. You're skin folk, not kinfolk. We are the enemy. We are the terrorists now. But that's not right. They are the terrorists. They are the ones who are destroying our country, taking these laws which are granted to us, along with our guest, Gus. What's your last name again? Gus. Let me scroll up. Breton. Yeah. Gus Breton, and also co-host Frank Kinesia, and also Angel. Thank you very much, bro. Hopefully you'll stay each week, hopefully doing this show, because it needs to be secured one show at a time, just like my other one. It never fails. But in the meantime, when we do go to breaks, when you hear the music, you know, if you have an ad, we're going to open up for advertisers. It will help continue to grow this show and to build it up where it needs to be, because this is a big subject that is in the eyes of the public now. In the interest of justice, there's no better time. Look at the blood money flow on In the Interest of Justice.us. Okay, and the blood bars, you know what I'm saying? I mean, this is all got to be taken back. We got to make that money green and maybe gold, because it'll be backed on gold. This is their system, their money. And notice it's falling. All that money, that blood money falling. And their system is falling. But we will not fall, right? Does everyone agree with me on that? Even though I may be crazy, you think I'm a racist or I'm vulgar, I'm this. No, this is about freedom of speech. Again, I start the show with mature audiences, and I'm not controlled by FCC. Again, if any of my language or that of guests or anyone else, callers, which I'll give out the number again in a minute, are offended, then you're most likely libtards, trans-testicle vaginuses out of the room, please. We are going to roll over you. Not what you're doing to us and our kids. And it's sick. And it's not normal. And we are exceptional. We are Americans. There's no other exceptional place on earth. The kingdom come. And what Gus Breton here just laid out. Imagine that. Everyone, the focus is on him. First one, what a charge, right? I mean, you think someone would be sweating because they got a felony and, you know, there's 100 other people watching them. Blow your nose or something. But anyway, and then he walks out and look at everything he laid out. All this is in the knowledge of the things he was saying that's out there for us. Eventually, this site has got to grow. Your donation support also helps, because we're going to have links to all these things, the Constitution, Bill of Rights. So when people listen to this show, they could click on links of when people want to bring up certain things that we can call them through the site, whatnot. Wouldn't that be a good idea, guys? I mean, this is, you know, in the interest of justice, in the interest of our best interest. Think about that. So that being said, we are back. Continue on, Gus, because, you know, you got a lot of things you want to talk about, and even, I guess, laws or codes dealing with marijuana / hemp. That's very important also, and could help save America, make America great again, and not just for getting high, and not just for health, but for industry, which must have made in the USA, even fuel. Yes, fuel. Why ain't they thinking that greener process? Our green technology, shut down all the pipelines, make your gas. You guys want to kill us, but we're going to kill you first. Oh, why don't we mention hemp gas? Or, other things, give me a break. We have to have this all set up in time, but people like Gus and Frank and Angel, we all share a passion for America, and they definitely share a passion for the law that I appreciate. And I definitely have a passion in being in America, and that's why I'm passionate. I'm pissed off. Do I have the right to be? Are you mad at me? Am I a shitty person? Because I have my way of view that benefits. Also, thinking of your rights, I might not agree with you, even if you're a trans-testicle fruitcake, but I'll respect and die and fight for your rights to claim the nutty things you do. Just don't inflict it on my kids, or I'll kill you. Yeah, I said it. All right, Gus, take us away, my friend. Sorry for the rant, but it has to be known. People have to know the importance of this, and if they're going to donate and or advertise to this show, it's going to where they also shape it. It's not just me. I'm just talking, right? Yeah, guys.
Hey, so, speaking of court cases, reading up on Supreme Court cases that you hear about, like Hale versus Henkel, 1906, that case has been quoted by the Supreme Court, about 70 times in the last 100 years. It has stood the test of time. It's worth reading. Another one is West Virginia Board of Education versus Barnett. And I'll give you a quote out of that one. It says, if there is any fixed star in our constitutional constellation, it is that no official, high or petty, can prescribe, which means to write a prescription, to write something down, can prescribe what shall be orthodox in politics, nationalism, religion, and other matters of opinion, or force citizens to confess by word or act their faith therein. If there are any circumstances which permit an exception, they do not now occur to us. Okay, so the Supreme, you might think that your state is standing up against you, and they're willing to mess you up. But if you go to the Supreme Court, which is where ultimately everything gets laid out, okay, they just reversed Roe v. Wade. They just wiped out the whole Second Amendment thing by stating that you have a right to concealed carry pretty much wherever you go. That they shall issue your concealed weapons license. If they create a license, it's not really a license because they have to issue it now. So that was taken care of. There was the EPA thing that came after that, which talked about three-letter agencies cannot regulate. They cannot make their own laws through regulation, that only the legislature can. So if you start reading cases like Miranda's a great case. You'll laugh your ass off if you read that. Because
Frank started me off on the path of appreciating that, though I still need him. And I appreciate his time and efforts in that too, because it's very important. That's why I appreciate that. Like I appreciate the scriptures. I could see a lot going on. And if we knew this knowledge, we don't need to pay thousands of dollars. But go ahead, sir. You're on a roll.
Well, in Miranda, okay, they talk about a lot of stuff, and the Miranda case came after Escobedo. In that case, the majority opinion, I forget who wrote it, but they're talking about, hey, we told you guys 2 years ago in Escobedo that you had to do this. So the Miranda was like version 2, and they were really explicit. They were chewing out the cops and the prosecutors, and you guys have all these tools available to you. And then they go ahead and describe all the things that cops do. And so if you want a really eye-opening thing about, where the line is drawn between you and law enforcement, read the Miranda case and then go read the Escobedo case. They're short reads. They're not that long, 5 pages, 6 pages. It's not like you're going to spend a month reading it. And there's just a lot of great stuff out there.
Right. And on that note, everyone, I forgot to give out the number again, 786-633-2225, in case, what do you think of this show? Do you think it should continue or not? And say whatever, how you feel. It's all about free speech. And especially if you have any comments or to Gus and or to Frank, 786-633-2225. 786-633-2225. One more, 786-633-2225. All right, with that being said, continue on, Gus. Sorry to interrupt.
Well, on my website, redressfordummies.org, I've got a link towards the bottom of the page of the main page.
Tell them what redress is, because I clicked on that, and it brings you to
redress. Redress is to be made whole. So when you've been injured, you go, you have a right to the redress of grievances. So you have a grievance, you've been damaged, and the right to redress is to be made whole, to be restored to the original condition you were in before the damage.
We all need a redress, don't we? How fitting. Continue, my friend.
Yeah, redress is it. The purpose of that's why it's at the end. If you look at the U.S. Bill of Rights, it starts with freedom. It talks about freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and the right to redress. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to speak. What are you speaking about? You're speaking about the things that are on your heart, your conscience. Okay, so that's freedom of speech. And if nobody's listening to you, you're going to publish, and that's freedom of the press. And if nobody's, if nothing's changing, what are you going to do next? You're going to go to the government. You're going to lay out a formal petition and say, look, this is what's going on. You guys need to fix this shit. So that's why those three things are in the first article, the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. The reason the second one is number 2 is if those things fail, they're probably coming after you. Okay, and you're going to have to be able to defend yourself. That's why we have the Second Amendment. Okay, the Third Amendment is the quartering of soldiers. People don't even know that, but that's quartering of soldiers. What did the king do when you were not behaving? He put one of his guys in your house to hear all your conversations. And then you got the Fourth and the Fifth and the Sixth Amendment, which secure your right to defense. Because they're coming after you, and if you don't need the Second Amendment, and there's no quartering of soldiers, then what's the next thing they can do to take you down? They can take you to court, which is what they do day in and day out. And then you got the Seventh Amendment, which gives you the ability to go to common law and to iron out the issue. And how are they going to stop that? Well, they're going to stop it with cruel and unusual punishment, which includes very high bail conditions. And that's why the Eighth Amendment has to do with bail. I mean, if you look at the logical procession of the amendments, it's very well laid out to secure your rights. And that's all that needs to be said, because number 9 says whatever we don't tell you you can do, you can't do. Okay, those are reserved to the people. And Article 10 is very much the same way. Basically hands off of everything else. So those Article 9 and Article 10 are hands off. The first ones are about freedom of speech, freedom of conscience, freedom of the press, redress. It's about fixing things. But if you can't fix things and you got a big mouth like Alex Jones, you got to be able to defend yourself.
I don't know your opinion of me. We haven't known each other long. You hearing me? I don't know what's your opinion of me. You can be honest. Am I crazy? But I have a right to be. But go ahead.
Well, you got a right to be crazy. You got a right to be loud. I used to do my shows. Word Nerds was the show because it was based on learning, teaching people about words, and we used to talk about all sorts of stuff. But at the bottom of the page, on my website, there's the archives to those shows where you can listen. And I used to be just like you, very loud, very, I was pissed off. And you got a right to be pissed off. You're not infringing on anybody else's rights. You're willing to let them be whoever they are. And they, on my Facebook page, I got one thing. It says, respect my peace and I'll respect yours. You don't respect mine, I'm going to fuck you up.
That's right. That comes down to, and that's the American way. And that's been the American knowledge, since its foundation. Basically, that sums it up.
Well, it is. And if you look at the Bill of Rights, first you speak about it, then you write about it, then you seek redress. And then, unfortunately, the next option is, we're going to shoot it out, at the break of dawn.
Do you think that's where it may be going now? Because look what we're doing. No, I don't see how we could get redress from these guys when they're already setting up between Jones, to January 6th, and everyone else, the prisoners again, the prisoners still, politically, uncharged and well beyond due process. That's the new system being forced upon us. Do you think that this could possibly be redressed through the courts at this point? I mean, let's be honest. We know where it needs to go, how to clean it, right? You're talking about it. But what's going on now? Let's be real. That's the question on everyone's mind, right? What is...
If you look at Article 10 of the New Hampshire Bill of Rights, it is the right to revolution. And it talks about the same exact thing that is where we left off in the description of the Declaration of Independence. Okay, that same sentence, I typed it out. I'll read it out to you. I wrote it down. But so
that's what's needed. We're all learning.
It says among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. And then, here's the next thing, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. So if safety and happiness is the end goal, which is done by securing the rights of man, then the right to revolution is for that purpose. That's the legitimate purpose of a revolution. And the Article 10 of the New Hampshire Constitution says the same thing, which was written 15 years before it was in the Bill of Rights.
Well, I guess you're painting out by this, which we understand, is that's where it's going, what it's going to take to actually get redress in the long run and reform everything?
Well, that's up to them. It's not up to us. We're speaking, we're making our requests known. This is what, we're letting them know what we believe is the problem, and we're telling them to fix it. Right. So, it's, personally, my life is pretty stable, very peaceful. I'm out in the woods. I got 60 acres. I got a blueberry farm. I got asparagus growing everywhere. Life is good. But, that's not the way it is for most people. Most people, especially those living in the city, you're stuck. What are you going to do? Your taxes are going through the roof. Nobody's listening to you. I had a friend who just went to court because he bought a property. He put a 6-foot fence around it, not knowing that the fence could only be 4 feet high, got sued by the city. I mean, come on. It's bullshit.
What if I have a dog, which I do, that could jump that 4 fence easily? I'd be like, fuck you. What, I can't have a dog?
See, there you are justifying why you have a right to do something. The fact is you have a right, and I don't need to justify it to fucking nobody.
Well, it's part of the property, right? Therefore, that's my property, so it's like, what the hell? Shut up.
It is. And essentially, people need to be, what you're doing is great because you're educating people. Some people might be offended by your language or by your posture or whatever. So be it. The information is still good.
Right. Exactly. As long as there's understanding, I got to be me. I'm not going to be fake on this show or any other show, because that's, I don't have those type of skills to succeed at that, to have a show. I only got to be me. And it's fitting right for the time of me, for me to be mad. And what this is, and, things of which I wish I could have known, which I could have, if I was educated with these laws and stuff from when I was a young kid in school up to, graduating, right? Even a high school diploma, a lot of this, or most of this should be we don't need to pay thousands to a lawyer. We could go represent ourselves because we learned it, because we get it, because we're Americans and we're exceptional and we must know it in order to continue it to survive. Or am I just talking shit?
The first thing that a third world country does, if it wants to come out of poverty and come into a first world status, is they dump all their resources in educating the next generation. And we've done the opposite for the last 50 years, because the people that seek to control us want us to get dumbed down. Meanwhile, China and other countries are doing everything they can for their kids. You know, why was there so many transfer students in the 70s and now nobody wants to send their kids here? Right? Because the universities are all liberal. They're all crap.
That's why we shut our borders and make America great again within, and including, space, including our justice systems, because those are going to be the backbones of which this nation will be able to thrive with greatness permanently till kingdom come, in my opinion. But we cannot until we have redress. And again, I appreciate that. I'm learning stuff here, and if I knew the amount that this guy knows, Gus going to a court, and all eyes are on you, and boom, and then spanking them instead of opposite, so they gotta listen to the law and let you go. Isn't that something? Just a little knowledge. That's what this show's about. Sorry for the rant.
No, Gus, a big problem. Gus, go ahead, Frank.
What did Alex Jones do wrong in his case?
Well, the only person that can answer that question is the accuser that's making a claim for actual damages. Who's that?
Right. He's not allowed
the parents. That's the parents. And they're there and they're accusing. So that's the parents.
Okay, the parents. All right, so let them verify their claim.
They're suing Alex Jones because Alex Jones said that it didn't happen. That they didn't have a child, and it's not real.
That's not what he said, though. They lied about that. And there's nothing on record, and he's not allowed to present evidence to show he never said that. They just say it like Trump. Trump got peed on in Russia. Russia. It turned out not to be true. Look, everything. The next step is assassination of him, let alone Alex Jones. And guess what? Me and you.
Yeah, so Alex Jones took the stand and he said, well, I really didn't mention your name and I don't really know you. So,
Exactly.
All right. So, so that's how he responded.
So the essential step, the first step is for each one of those parents to take the stand, testify as to the actual damage they sustained, the actual damages, not you hurt my feelings and I want a purple basketball.
Right.
Okay, the actual damage. And then after the claim is made, the claim is the only thing left to talk about. Okay? But that's the first step. You got to get the actual damages on record and how they were incurred. Your feelings being hurt don't matter.
They did do that in the case.
Guess what, guys? Let's put it this way.
The parents took the stand? Which parent took the stand to verify their independent claim?
Well, I think the father did, and perhaps the mother did, but the father, the judge said. Let me finish. The judge said something very interesting. You may address eye to eye the defendant at the bench, and you're at the testimony stand. You can look him right in the eye and ask him the question, right? But he can't respond. It was very unique. It was not.
That's retarded.
That's not fucking protocol.
No, it's not. It's bullshit.
Now, that's where I wanted to go now, because from the beginning, this hearing he's at now, do you know he never even had the chance to have a hearing? He was found guilty before this trial. The judge, the trans-testicle-looking beast, tells the jury that he's guilty 20 times, that he's already found guilty in her eyes, that what that is for, there's no defense that he could do or nothing. It's for them to determine how much money is going to be grifted off of him in order, you heard it from their lawyer, to shut him down, to not be able to broadcast
any. To be truthful, Alex Jones did have the opportunity to bring witnesses in. He did not. Okay, he did take the stand.
How? Who said that? Who said that? Because the judge said.
I watched the case. That's how I know.
Oh, I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched snippets, but I'm going by what he's been saying.
Yeah, no, I watched his testimony on the stand.
Awesome. Oh, that's a good subject, man. I would love to have him on The Interest of Justice. I wonder what,
Well, he lost that case miserably. Oh, it's probably about 10 million on on this
Frank,
round.
what were the damages claimed by the father? What did he say?
Emotional
He encouraged-
distress. Emotional distress.
Emotional distress. So somebody says something you don't like and you get to sue them?
Well, then you go to a shrink, and the shrink says you're really sick from these thoughts. Okay.
Okay.
And then goes to the court, and I don't know if that was done in.
Is that why they have safe rooms at all the universities now? So if you hear something you don't like, you can run to the safe room in the university, so you don't have to hear any more truth?
Bingo. Ain't that right?
Whatever. I mean, Alex Jones did a shit job on his own case, in my humble opinion. But go ahead.
Okay, no, that's fine. If that's the only thing the guy's got to make a claim about, then it's when people who are on the jury, you put me on a jury, you're not going to get your case won. I'm not going to be fooled by somebody's hurt feelings. I mean, give me a break. The guy doesn't have an actual claim.
They would not.
And that's the education process. People need to get educated about what the real issues are. In justice. In the interest of justice, there has to be a claim. It has to be verified. There has to be an accuser. There's due process involves a tremendous amount of things, including paperwork. The arrest warrant, the search warrant, all that shit.
That's why they deprived him of being able to show evidences, show audio, show video of everything.
So they have a ton of stuff on him. They have all his TV shows. So that's what they mostly showed.
Yeah, and they edit them. They edit them to take out the important things that would exonerate him. They don't even want that questioned. He didn't have the right to even go through the process.
Well, you can say, I need to see the entire evidence at the time of the evidence being presented.
The judge said no. He's watching enough then. I seen that. The judge said no outright. He wasn't even allowed to talk to anyone. The people in the hall, when he talked to the parents, their lawyers grabbed them. Get over here. You can't talk to him, blah, blah, blah. This ain't about them. This is about deprivation of the whole system that they're trying to pull us all. That's their new model of what they're doing to him, to do to us all, and to take down our rights and freedoms along with that. Never mind the injustices of the no due process and all that shit. This is their new system, and it's commie, and it's un-American.
I'm sure he's going to appeal it. Anyway, gentlemen, how much longer do you want to do this show? Because I have a conference call coming up.
All right. Well,
it's up to you.
I should just say you and Gary keep talking, but I have to bow out. All right?
Sounds good. Good talking with you, Frank.
Good talking with you. Okay, Gary, keep the show going.
All right, man. I'll call you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So there goes Frank Canija. So very good points he brought up and questions, and he's very knowledgeable too. It helps things flow. Again, it's very interesting. So Gus, continue on, sir. But you see what I mean? No, I mean he didn't even have the right to evidence.
The people that are on the jury are ill prepared to handle anything. They want to get back to their Dancing with the Stars or their weekend jet ski, or they don't give a shit, and that's the problem. Right. There's not enough people who give a shit, and that's caused by not thinking, and it takes a lot of thought. It takes a lot of thought to process information. You can't just do it 1 hour a month, or when it has to be a dedicated effort. For instance, let's say taxes. Okay, on the one hand, you got the 14th Amendment stating that the U.S. government tax its citizenry, and on the other hand, you got the 13th Amendment says that involuntary servitude is against the law. So, if my property, which I earn, is mine, it's my property, and I don't want to give it up, then why do I have to pay taxes? Because am I not? Isn't it all 100% my property? Doesn't that fall under the 13th Amendment, where I have a right to not be somebody's slave? But then you got the 14th Amendment, and then you got the original 13th Amendment, which doesn't even show up anymore, which is also on my website. So, people need to get informed, and they need to start thinking about things that they don't typically think about. And you're not going to be able to talk to your neighbor about this because, all of a sudden you decided you wanted more information because nobody, your neighbor doesn't know shit. So you got to get on shows like this. You got to find people. You got to track down websites, and you got to do the research. When I started, there was no internet. 2002, I couldn't find any information anywhere. The guys who taught me all learned from the library. They spent their days at the library.
Right.
It's gotten a lot easier, and people have gotten a lot lazier.
And ain't that kind of backwards there? It's more about control, but we definitely appreciate you being here and hopefully coming on again in the future to help and teach us. This is all knowledge that's there for us all. And, and your efforts and what you're doing, you seem to obviously be in the education realm yourself, guiding. So that's very important.
That's the only thing I think will make a difference.
Right. Well, it's gonna have to in the long run. Now you sent me let me go to that email real quick. You sent me a list of a couple things which I could add to the archive page of what you may want to get into. Detoothing the Dragon, the 50 Bills of Rights are pre-constitutional, which I think you already got into that one, right? Federal laws only apply in federal zones. That's interesting. And also right to face accuser, which I think you just went over also. Or am I off here? This one I seen one about.
You're right. At the top of the page, you'll see a tab that says Detoothing the Dragon, and that's where you have a menu that drops down, and you can pick some of the other things. To the left side, there's a column month after month after month going back to 2013 on things I've written about. But more importantly, at the top of the page, there's a search box. So whatever you're looking for, use that search box to find things. For instance, one of the blogs was this federal laws only apply in federal jurisdictions. And, I'll give you a pretty simple example. Marijuana was illegal everywhere for, 40 years. I don't know how long, but eventually Colorado, California, Washington, different states came around and said, well, in our state, it's different. And so they nullified the federal law. And now that federal law only applies in the federal courthouse or the federal property that's in that state. So if they're able to, because of the laws granted under it as a state by its constitutional process to override that federal law, correct, in a legal manner. It's just nullify it. They don't consent. Okay, the consent of the governed is what decides what the law is. And so California decided not to consent to the federal marijuana laws. That's it. And I don't understand why Texas does not consent to the immigration laws or the immigration policy or whatever you want to call it. I mean, Texas is a sovereign country. That's it. The 50 states are called the several states. They're all sovereign. They all have a right to say, no, that law is not going to apply here. I'm in Missouri, and over here, the legislature of Missouri has passed a law over a year ago that says Second Amendment rights are to be secured. They're sacred, and that if any federal agent comes into Missouri, that no sheriff is allowed to assist them.
Huh.
So the states have extremely solid power and authority over the feds. The Fed is a creation of the states, and they need to, the states need to start treating the feds that way. They need to say, no, we're not letting people, we own the border. You don't own the border. Right. It's, you might own the border, and then 1 foot in from the border is our spot. And if anybody gets caught coming across our spot, it's over. There's a dotted line. That's it. You own the dotted line. We own everything on this side of the dotted line. Fuck you.
Right. That's how it should.
And the states need to, grow some balls.
Well, that's why hopefully the laws get better, and what's going on, and maybe what I'm going through now could even possibly be expunged one day. But, many are saying that. But, it is what it is. Mine was of stupidity, growing one more plant too many. Ouch. What a real crime. I'm such a terrorist, domestic white supremacist bigot, right? Because of that.
Well, what about forgiveness? What if you go to court and you say, hey, I fucked up. I want forgiveness. Forgiveness is just about mandatory, right? We're a Christian nation. We're supposed to forgive each other.
Yeah.
Hey, forgive me for having one plant that doesn't fit the criteria that you laid out.
That wasn't a violent crime or in a threat of anyone or being even possible being thereof. I mean,
yeah, there's a lot to know about law. And the more basic it is, the better it is. Anybody who complicates the law is somebody who's looking to put money in their pocket, out of your pocket. They're going to revenue. They're going to take it from your pocket, put it in their pocket, and that's it. And those are your gurus running around talking. My website's free. There's nothing. You don't have to pay me nothing. I got a donation button, and I appreciate it if you buy me a cup of coffee. But this shit needs to be taught. It needs to be understood. It needs to be shared with other people. And anybody who makes this any more complicated than I'm here to face my accuser to settle the claim, okay? Right. Anything more complicated than that is somebody trying to make $200-300 an hour from you.
And deprive you of your rights and the laws, the Constitution that they themselves are supposed to uphold. It doesn't put them as charges, kings and queens and whatnot. It puts them in, like you said, in servants of us to applicate those laws accordingly, even unto themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really explain that a little,
Well, the purpose of most statutes is to tax a man that would otherwise never be taxed. I mean, that's really the bottom line.
Yeah,
there's no other purpose.
And there's even more coming, I hear, a lot of them. And, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Redress needs to happen one way or another. But again, like that video just a couple hours after, Trump's raid, it starts off, what do you hear? Thunder and rain starting. There's a storm coming. And he looks too calm. He knows what's up. He knows what's up. I wish he would be a little more, open with some things. Now, if you look at the show pic, do you have access to see the show pic at the moment, Gus? Because it's
sure.
All right.
Let me click on the link.
And everyone else out there, you're gonna get a kick out of this. Now, it's in the interest of justice. You see Lady Liberty there trying to pull a blade out of her chest. She's on her knees. The scale ain't totally fallen yet. Her hand ain't limp. She's trying to pull it out. And Gus is over there thinking, how the fuck we do this? Right? Now, look at the flag. You see the shadows and the brightnesses and pretty flag, right? But notice flag central point. Notice it looks like a silhouette of Trump's hairdo and his nose. Ain't that something? Talk about symbolic, and believe it or not, bro, I just noticed that. I didn't put that there.
Oh, that's really cool.
So I had to get it out. I was like, what a symbology. That's just a significance of circumstance that shows me through some divine, weird, or natural code we all share, that circumstance speaks. This show and what we're hearing and seeing was meant to be seen and heard now, and that just helps continue on with my faith, to help continue on with this, because I'm ignorant of a lot of these laws. So are we all. Why? Because they didn't teach us in school. And Gus, you brought up the point. We need to start being taught this, and to our kids. Trump already says to love our flag, respect our country. Hopefully there's a curriculum he also has in there to teach them of the basic Bill of Rights, everything. So by the time they leave high school, they're not going to have to pay a blood bar cult, personality called a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? Unless one's really needed, and it wouldn't be that ridiculous, because we'll all know, like you did. What would a lawyer have charged you to do what you do? And would a lawyer have even done what you said and did to get you walking out of that courtroom?
There's no chance that an attorney would do what I would do. He would get disbarred, because an attorney's primary job is to support the public trust. So that is the trust that the public has in the system. And so any attorney that rattles the cage, that shakes the public trust, is going to get disbarred. And the second obligation is to the court. So you don't disgrace the court, you don't shake the public trust, and if you can avoid those two things and still represent your client, then go ahead. And so there's no chance ever that an attorney is going to do for you what you can do for yourself. They can't do it. They're going to lose their livelihood. Their wife's going to divorce them. They're never going to see their kids again. Shit like that.
So you agree with me then? I guess I'm not talking crap that we should educate. If we were to do that from kindergarten onward to the graduate high school, that's a beneficial thing for us citizens and for the stability of this nation for the future, right?
Well, yes, I do. And if you want to know more about that, do a search.
They didn't lock you up, but they'll disbar the lawyer. But you could do it as the citizen. That still means we have some strength left.
I can do it as a man. Not a citizen. A citizen is deprived of his rights. A citizen only has civil rights. Okay? My rights are pre-constitutional. They don't have anything to do with the Constitution or the Bill of Rights.
You see why people listen to this? Isn't this appreciated? Does this sound crazy? Does this sound like something you wouldn't want to know for when the day you go to court and you want a jury that's not going to be told you're already guilty? How much? It doesn't matter.
If your listeners want to read it for themselves, I forget the name of the case, but if you look up belligerent claimant in person, you will find a Supreme Court case that talks about only a belligerent person a belligerent claimant in person has rights. That's what the Supreme Court said. Your rights cannot be secured by an attorney.
Would that be a picture of me next to it? The belligerent person has rights. Not belligerent.
Yeah. Only a belligerent claimant in person has rights. Rights cannot be secured by an attorney.
That's amazing.
It's a Supreme Court case. Look it up. If you're starting on this journey of understanding things, look up Barnett versus Board of Education of West Virginia, where it says, no officer, high or petty, can make law for you.
See, this is important. Yeah, starting out, we all are. Every listener that hopes that will tune into this, because more and more people are waking up. They're going to need sources like this and many others to understand and appreciate what we really have, and then they will see who the true enemy is.
On my website, there's a book you can click on right on the front page of my website, and it's English common law in the early American colonies, and how the people who first came here got to the point where they discarded the English law. They said, fuck it, we don't need all these rules of evidence and all this stuff. We know the difference between right and wrong. And they created their own system, which was eventually overrun by the bar attorneys and the barristers from England. There was a time, 100, 150 years, where if they found out you were attorning, which is to turn property from one to another, if you were attorning as an attorney, they threw you out. They put you outside the gates, and you were left to fend for yourself with the Indians. They didn't want you. It was that was it. You didn't get a second chance. They just put you outside the gates. That's it. You don't belong here. So it's those attorneys that took the court system back away from the people. But the people would meet on a Saturday in the church basement or at the oak tree down the street, the main town area. And they would pull straws. Whoever got the 12 longest straws, that was it. You're on the jury today. They knew the difference between right and wrong. They didn't have to have technical rules. Let's hear what you have to say. And how about you? What do you got to say for you in your defense? Okay, anybody else got something to say? And that's it. You're guilty. You're not guilty. Whatever. We don't need technical bullshit.
Right. I'm looking at a picture on your site page as everyone scrolls down. Showing that grasshopper from that movie. Those puny ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. Think about it, Blood Bar. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line and killing us off now. And with a twist, with a modern twist, are you all willing to eat the bugs?
Yep.
I'm not eating the fucking bugs. I don't care. I'm not doing that. I'll there's plenty of other things. I'll eat rice. and that's my next step up. I don't really like rice, but you know, if it came down to it, I'll eat rice. Whatever else, I'll eat my plants. My bud plants has more nutrients and everything in it. And there's a lot of things that I could use with it. But let's be real. Once that happens, do you all want to eat the bugs? They're destroying our food systems now, not just our judicial systems. And then what's going to happen? You're going to eat your pets? I got 13 dogs. I'm not eating my pets. And man, let's just say no one better come try creeping. You know what I mean? And it shouldn't come to that. It should not come to that. Something has to happen, Gus, before that turning point. We could be brought to a precipice, but we cannot be brought past the precipice before the action is done. By who? Who are you hoping or expecting? In order to get redress, you laid it out. You already laid it out. But what do you think, and how long do you think we have to make something happen before we can get our redress?
It all depends on it depends on the speed of courage and the speed of knowledge. And you know, the more people, you don't have to be the guy catching all the tomatoes. You know, I stick my head out. You know, I'm willing to take the heat. My phone number is at the bottom of every single page of my website. I answer the phone. Okay, but you don't have to do that. You can just learn it, teach your kids, you know, teach your neighbors' kids. You know, there's a friend of mine in Alaska, you know, Bill and Marie. They do a common law study every Wednesday night at the church. You know, just do something. You know, do something to promote the education, to open people's eyes, because you know, when you first start looking at this stuff, they're going to think you're nuts. You can't do this. You know, I had a friend of mine who was running.
That's why I have to pay $1,000 to a lawyer. I need a lawyer. Only lawyers could do this, George.
Well, I had a friend of mine who was running for the Senate in New Hampshire when I caught that gun charge. And he said, "What's your defense?" And I told him, he said, "Please don't do that." He says, "If you need money for an attorney, I'll get you an attorney." He says, "But don't do that." And I told him, I said, "Dude, this is what I've been teaching for 2 years. I don't have, it's not in my conscience. I can't do anything but this. This is it." And so I did it. And then he invited me for a barbecue afterwards. A month later, I was sitting with some attorney who wanted to know how the hell that happened.
Huh.
You know, but that's, you know, it's that simple. You have a right to face your accuser. You have a right to settle the claim before the court. The court only exists for controversy. I mean, these are all basic things.
Yeah, and there's plenty of controversy in it, and the courts, they're obfuscating from even allowing the rights of those to utilize that courts. That's what I'm saying. Their new model is what we're seeing through Alex Jones, through even our experiences, but let alone the President Trump, January 6th. That's their new system they're going to enforce. They already are upon we the people. That's what I'm afraid of. Secured.
Well, you know, there's a lot of things going down. All right. So you've got the central bank digital currencies that are going to be coming out. That's going to be a huge control mechanism. On the other hand, you have other cryptos that are going to be available where people can buy and sell without the government's, you know, doing anything. Buy silver, buy junk silver dimes and quarters so you can barter. I mean, a silver dime is equal to a dozen eggs all day long, every day, year after year. It never changes. So if you have, let's say you got $100 worth of silver dimes, you can cut them in half and make change. I mean, there's so much shit that we can do, you know, but eventually taking the money out of the system, you know, when we're able to barter and trade and do our own thing without the government's consent, which is where we're going. I mean, the central bank digital currencies are the problem. Yeah, we're going to have to make sure that we have our own stuff going on.
Right, we need a people's economy. We need a people's economy, and whatever's going to happen now when this deep state, you know, cabal Fed system ends, we cannot wait and go through a very long depression. People die, eat their pets. Venezuela, commie China, all over, destruction of America. We need a fast transition to where, okay, there's been some food off the shelves. We're not going to let them get empty. Here's more. We need something fast.
Yeah, but it's not going to happen that fast. You got ISO compliant crypto, which is going to move a lot of stuff. And but before then, they are dedicated to destroying the economy, the supply chains. Your car insurance is going through the roof because they can't get parts to fix your car. So now it's costing even more to fix your car. The prices of everything is going through the roof, and it's not going to be fixed because the U.S. dollar is going down the drain. It's circling the drain as we speak. China and Russia have been reloading their gold supplies for 10, 15 years. They're creating their own currency. I mean, we're not going to be the world reserve currency by the end of the year. It's never going to happen. Okay, but that's not a big deal. England is, used to be the world reserve currency. It's no longer the world reserve currency, and life in England is still pretty cool. It's not. I spent 6 months out there. It's nice. There's nothing wrong with being out there.
Besides, the government's trying to kill them, and this New World Order plan. But
that's everywhere.
Right. Exactly. Stop.
It's got nothing to do with the world reserve currency.
So do you see American citizens? A lot of them starving to death, eating their dogs, and all that before we get redress.
Yeah, I do. Especially those that are in the cities that haven't prepared. And if you prepare, and you're the only fat kid in the neighborhood, they're going to know you got shit. So it's not. There's going to be some really hard times. It's not going to be pretty. That's why I moved out of the city. I spent 32 years working in Boston. Now you probably hear it a little bit sometimes, when I talk. But I was a French kid, and I ended up working in Boston. But I got away from the city 5 years ago.
Boston. Us New Yorkers say Boston. It is the never-ending battle debate between Boston. I remember those days, man. So, So was Angel trying to say something? I think I heard him about to say something. All right. 3, 2, 1. I guess not. So
So you got Catherine's going to be on your show next week?
Well, it's supposed to be Andrew Bashago next week. But we're gonna get her on, and anyone that you think that we could contact too, sir, is needed and appreciated. For those that want to help educate, this belligerent guy and the rest of the world, and waking us up and to help steer this transition that where hopefully we'll be able to save ourselves and save our neighbors despite their color of their skin. Since all domestic
it's very possible, and it's just a matter of people coming to the reality of what actually is and not the bullshit they're being fed. All it takes is just one or two events. All it takes, like Trump's got a lot of followers. He could say, here's the deal, here's the plan, this is what we need to get rid of. If he laid it out in a weekly, every week he would come on, give a 10-minute thing. This is what we're, like an update on the health of the nation. Whether he's president or not is irrelevant. He's got a lot of followers, and if he laid out a plan and said,
more so now since the raid, even more so now. Sure. Way pundit, I'll read you the title. Trump shatters all fundraising records after Biden's FBI raids at Mar-a-Lago. Thank you, commies.
Well, I'm really disappointed he's been as quiet as he has about the January 6th and those people that are being held captive.
Well, he just put out a video with a storm coming, rain has started. So that's definitely got to be on his ideal agenda.
It's a presumption. We're presuming that it is. Why do we need to presume?
Right. I like to hear it from him. Thank you. I've been saying things like that too. And people are like, are you against President Trump? No. I love the guy. I just want him to fucking come out and tell us these fuckers are trying to kill us all and starve us and this and that and what we intend to do about it.
Yeah, so when you speak with vagueness, people hear what they want to hear.
Bingo.
I don't want to hear what I want to hear. I want to hear what you've got to say.
Right. And he ain't addressing that part. That's the only part that makes me worry. Well, out of what? There's many things that make you worry. But you know what I'm saying? And it really, again, not to knock him, but he's so calm. And the way that video, I have a feeling that video was done knowing beforehand they were going to play it once that event happened. They were expecting
Well,
that.
they produced the video and they were just sitting on it, waiting for some reason to let it out.
Bingo. I think they're going to try to assassinate him next. I mean, it's coming to that. And it's going to be so obvious who and what it is. And that would definitely spur off a kinetic civil war. Get ready, trans-testicle, vaginuses and all nuts.
Who's going to be, if there's a war, who's it going to be? Between the people with the guns and the people without the guns? I mean, that's retarded. I don't see a civil war coming because the other side refuses to be armed.
These guys want to unleash not only our forces on us, but they're going to allow the commie chinks, as being the UN security forces, come onto our streets and gun enforce. Well, you know what that is already. It's automatic war. It's not a peace.
The only way they're going to take us down is with the cryptocurrency. That's it. If you want food, you got to do this. If you want food, you got to do that. Food is the only. If you want food, you got to turn in your guns.
Make him a beast, everybody, not me.
Yeah, they're going to strip everybody down to where they are so desperate that they're willing to give up anything to get what they've got, and that's what that's where the war is.
Right.
There's nobody coming here with guns.
They got everything we like, and we get the easy fucking bugs. Well, you know what? Damn, it's already all right. We're at the top of the show, the end of the show, I guess. I'm sorry if we didn't get into any other subjects you wanted to, but are you willing to come back on again at some point to continue on? And whatever you would like to report on, please let us know so we can get you immediately on.
Yeah, I'm willing to come on. I can always call in now and then, but I mean, basically everything you heard from me today is the only thing I talk about. Everything's on my website.
Awesome.
So if I come back on, I'd be talking about the exact same stuff. I don't talk about anything else.
Well, no problem. Maybe we'll have other people here too. You guys should toss ideas, share, dialogue. This is what we the people need to see and hear. Speaking up, and that's what you help doing, and we definitely appreciate that and honor that, sir. Are there any final last statements you would like to make?
No, I appreciate you being here and doing what you do, giving everybody, some new information. That's causing people to think. That's what we need more of.
All right, sir. Please send me that link to that video so I can embed it on the show page of that. Are you saying there's a video? Is it being read, or is it what's in a video before you go?
The video of that court hearing is the audio from the court. And I added pictures to the video, to the audio, and then I posted it on YouTube.
I think everyone's going to hit that, and they might agree with me. Everyone else in Cubs, when they go up, I state what he did.
It's settle the claim. That's it.
Bingo. All right, sir. Thank you very much for joining us today, and we'll talk again soon. And let's get ready, man, because we got to get to take our country back. And I'm trying to get more motivated, and hopefully Frank will too, because this is very important. This is a subject we all need to partake and share in. So thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you, Gary.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Take care, brother.
Bye. All right, Bye-bye. So everyone, there goes Gus. Well, Ghislaine. Ghislaine's a pretty cool name. He said that's how it's actually spelled too. Everyone, like where it comes to Ghislaine Max, Elaine, all these, other names, they don't know what the hell they're saying. Or Gellin. No, it's Ghislaine. I mean, Ghislane, I believe. So, I mean, Ghislaine. And yes, I can make a sexual pundit, joke about that, and all that jizz, jizz whiz. Freedom of speech. All I know is that this product, and is in your mind, is it and I out of control? Or is it the enemy that's coming upon us? Till next week.
Don't lie from me. Stick around. then you'll see that I'm not who I used to be. There's a darkness deep inside. At night, this pain is driving me insane. There's no way to contain. I don't get so bright. Feelings that I hate. There's no way to escape. I don't get so pain. Losing all my will to breathe. In the middle of it, I see it's the other side of me. I'm awake but not alive. Tonight I cannot hide this pain. It's driving me insane. There's no way to contain. I don't get so bright. Feelings that I hate. There's no way to escape.
Wow.